It gives me great pleasure to welcome you all to today's Integrated Business Solutions case study session, where we will deep dive into pharmaceutical sector, a dynamic, highly regulated, and innovation-driven industry that plays a vital role in global health and economic growth. Pharmaceutical companies operate in unique environment. Their value chain is complex and research oriented, often involve partnership with universities and academic institutions for innovations in drug discovery and formulation. Once a drug is developed, the business model shifts to focus on distribution and commercialization, where distribution network play a critical role. Here, distribution discounts become strategically important for pricing and market penetration. This is very crucial in markets with government regulated drug pricing mechanisms. In this sector, IPR, intellectual property rights, such as patents, are very critical for safeguarding innovation and it is source of gaining competitive advantage. A company that holds a patent can enjoy a period of market exclusivity which allows them to set premium pricing and recover R&D investments. During this patent period, firms typically follows the skimming pricing model. Once the patent expires and the drug becomes generic, the pricing power reduces significantly, and the firm must adopt volume-based pricing or market penetration strategy. The pharmaceutical industry is among the most heavily regulated sector, both in India and at global level. As a result, companies often receive government grants. As a result, companies often receive government grants to support public health initiative or innovation which is essential in this industry. Therefore, Ind-AS 20 will be applied here. As per Ind-AS 20, accounting for government grants and disclosure of government assistance, when grants are linked to specific outcome or milestones, their recognition in financial statements must reflect the nature and timing of those outcomes. Additionally, under GST, the value of supply of drug intermediates is governed by Clause C of Rule 28, and when value cannot determine through standard methods, Rule 30 of CGST Rule 2017 may be applied. Understanding these provisions is essential for professionals involved in compliance and transaction structuring. Further, the sector sees significant investment is in process R&D, as I told you earlier, which are often acquired through mergers, licensing agreements, or internal development. Ind AS 38 is also applicable here. Intangible assets provides detailed guidance on the recognition and measurement of such IPR&D. IPR&D means in process research and development. It distinguishes between internally generated intangible assets and those acquired through transactions, offering clarity on when and how these assets can be capitalized. These, this case encourages you to synthesize knowledge across disciplines like financial reporting, Ind AS 20, Ind AS 38, auditing SA 250, taxation GST rules, corporate and economics laws section 234, and strategic management models like pricing strategy and competitive advantage theory. It promotes higher order thinking requiring students to analyze, evaluate, and recommend the actions. All study materials are uploaded on students portal. Today's session will be interactive. We have kept last 15 minutes for general question and answer. This can include your exam related query, preparation strategy, or doubts on any IBS topic. We are honored to have with us CA Sumit Dadda sir, a respected chartered accountant known for his work across diverse sectors with deep knowledge in accounting, taxation, and audit, especially in highly regulated industries. Sir brings a unique mix of academic and practical insight. We are truly grateful to him for joining us today, especially during the busy audit season, and for taking time to guide you. With that, let us begin our session. I invite CA Sumit Dadda sir to take over and walk us through the intricacies of this compelling business case. Sir, over to you.
Thank you, Deepakji, for setting the context and tone for the session for the day. And good evening, fellow participants. Let me start sharing the screen. Before I jump on the screen, before I jump on the case study, let us understand a little bit on this industry, though majority has been already covered by Deepakji. So you got a fair idea of this industry. But still, to start with, if you want to start a business of pharmaceuticals, like Suraj Pharma, the case study we are going to discuss, what do you think are few things you need to keep in mind if you want to start this business? Let's say tomorrow someone, your relative, approaches you, or you want to venture out a pharma business. So any quick thoughts? What all you need to consider to start a pharma business? Any quick thoughts?
Getting license is critical.
Getting license. Okay, so you need to get approval. Getting license. Fine. That is the first step, because without this, nothing will work out. That's first point. Okay,
And a
license and
huge outlay, huge investment involved.
huge investment. Okay. Okay. Huge investment involved. And what else?
Drug formula.
Drug formula, that is very important. Because if you want to have a drug, if you want to make money, you need to have something which others do not have. I need to do R&D, that need to have government approval,
Skilled, skilled laborers.
skilled labors. Okay, skilled labors. Okay. Anybody has ever witnessed any pharma company during stock audit or stat audit or any audits of any of the where we have seen manufacturing? Now, so first of all, let us understand what is the first thing required. That is, you need to have a license. So the government should give a license to start manufacturing. You make money, you make more money by selling your drugs in India or selling the drugs outside India. Where do you think?
Outside India, as well as inside India also, it's a drug. This is costly actually.
A lot of money outside India because of the dollar parity, and because other countries do not have that production capacity or knowledge, so they buy at a higher price, and that's why a lot of exports happen. Just to give a ballpark figure, last year's our pharma company sector business volume was 50 billion US dollar. So in 2024, we clocked 50 billion US dollar business of pharma in India and abroad. It is expected to be $130 billion in 2030. That's the range CAGR it is supposed to grow. India exports almost 200 countries plus. So every country, you name it, India generally exports something. Some other part we export. There are certain companies in India which are one among 3 or 4 companies in the world. So there are certain companies which are which have highly skilled labor, highly skilled machines, but out of the entire world, only 3 or 4 companies can manufacture such medicines in the entire world. So one is in Vapi, one is in Daman and Diu. So we have that kind of. Those who would have been ever seen any manufacturing of these medicines, the environment is highly protective. You cannot just go with a normal clothes on, shoes, slippers on. You need to fully put in a protective shield equipment. You need to have your plastic covered on your shoes and socks so that no molecule can get disturbed, because it's a very sensitive issue, because if something goes wrong in one of the medicines molecule, entire medicines may go waste and any infection may come. Gopal, why you think location would be a relevance for medicine, pharma? Any reference, any specific thing related to location which you want to highlight? Why you think location matters? Will it matters if I'm making a pharma? Now, one point somebody mentioned that huge investment. So there could
And
be one. Please, please.
laws and regulation as well, and renewal of every year, and follow the strict guidelines of the quality.
So quality is non-negotiable. You cannot afford to lose anything. You cannot afford to be lenient on any quality. That is mandatory. And which is the most strictest regulator across the globe in medicines? Okay, for taxation purpose, fine. So we have US FDA. US FDA is the most strictest regulator in terms of your due diligence. When they come and see your factory, if they find even one ounce of dust in that factory premises, you don't have proper segregation, the shoes are not kept at the right place, any scattered things they find in the premises, they just will cancel the license. In fact, they are so strict. So, like we all know that child labor is prohibited, right? It is not permitted to have child labors. So, in my factory, I do not employ any child labor. So, it is strictly prohibited that below 18, we will not put anyone. But what will happen if, let's say, in a lunch time or in a tea break time, the tea vendor from the next nearby neighbor door of your factory sends a chotu to deliver tea to your premises? So a 12-year-old kid is from a tea vendor is coming to deliver tea in your premises. Will that impact your license? Yes, no, maybe. What do you think? What do you think, Guru? It is not my employee, but the vendor with whom I am dealing, he has sent that child labor. So will you hold me guilty? The US FDA,
Yes,
which they will come.
yes, sir, definitely, sir. We need to follow inside as well as outside as well.
So they had actually treated the company as a guilty, saying that it's not only you who have not done it. If your ecosystem is also applying child labor and you are taking service from them, you are also a party to their crime. So you should not do that. So they are as strict as possible. So one need to understand they do not follow only in letter; they follow in letter and spirit. So that part one need to keep in mind when they work on these kind of compliances. Now, in terms of heavy investment, if I want to do a business of pharma and I don't have much money, so one thing which I could do is, so first you need to have plant machines. If that is expensive, but I have the salt, I have the molecule with me, then what I can do is I can do we call it in a pharma industry CDMO, contract drug manufacturing organizations. I can enter into a contract with any company. I'll give them specifications that this is salt X, this is salt Y, you mix salt X and Y, you will get a medicine. Then I'll give them a test. Then they will produce the medicines for me. So what will happen? the infrastructure is developed by someone else. I am only putting the we are just putting the we are putting the only the molecule. So here it does not become expensive for me. So with a small capital also I can try to run this. But if I could do this, what is the issue in this? What risk you perceive in this? So this is the first step to start working where we don't have a much capital to start. So I want to start a business in pharma. I don't have much money. This could be one of the reasons to start. This could be one of the ways to start. I'll go for a contract manufacturing. The person whom I'm doing a contract manufacturing will be having a plant. So capital is not employed by me directly. His machines is already there. I can use that. What is the risk you foresee in this? What is the risk you think?
Sir, counterparty risk are there, sir, actually.
Sorry,
See,
counterparty?
counterparty risk means he is a counterparty to us. See,
Correct.
we are wholly depending on him,
Okay.
and he will expect more fees from us.
Correct. So this is one of the biggest risks that if tomorrow your product succeeds, he will be arm twisting you. Tomorrow he says, okay, you have given me, let's say, 5 rupees per medicine. Now I want 8 rupees per medicine. And what if I stop? If your CDMO stops responding you, stop manufacturing you, your supply chain management will be utterly damaged. And when my supply chain management got damaged, it will be the most disastrous part. Because if can this business wait that okay, if you do not have this currently, you give me after a week's time. Just like when you want to buy a t-shirt or buy a phone, and that phone is not available at that point in time with the customer, with the shopkeeper. Let's say you want iPhone 16 and his stock got vanished. He said, sir, come after 15 days, I'll get iPhone 16. So you can still wait for 15 days and get an iPhone 16 after 15 days. Or similarly, you want to buy a shirt and your respective shirt size is not available, and that will come. Let's say Alan Soli says, come after 7 days, we'll get a new same size shirt. You can wait. In medicines, can you wait? If you don't have a headache medicines today, you'll say, okay, after come after 7 days, or I immediately need another replacement. So you can't afford to have your demand and supply mismatch. So that's why the CDMO operation may look good, but if you do not have watertight agreements, either your agreement would be so strong that you put a condition that okay, the person will not raise fees from till next 3 years, he will work at the same cost, that will become a challenge. So CDMO people start with, but then you need to be thoroughly documented so that it should not damage you. And later on, one should always go for his own manufacturing. If you tested the business, made money in this business, then start making your own manufacturing. Why is that so? Later on, you will have an entire control on the business. Quality can be controlled, everything can be controlled, that can be taken care of. Now coming to the molecule part. Now, how how much time you think it takes generally a medicine or drug to come into the market from inception stage, from the idea stage, from the research stage to a patient's mouth or to the pill in the market? How much time you think it takes?
Sometimes it
It will,
takes years for trial and all, human trial and all.
How
sir,
much
it
time you
will,
think?
sir, it will take minimum 1 year, sir. I will see. Say, example, in COVID time, the vaccination is no, they build it in such a long time, testing all these things. It took at least 3 months, 6 month time to come out.
Okay,
But that was accelerated test. In fact, it may take years for human trial at different stages.
okay,
Sir, I feel that it is a minimum 1 to 2 years, or even 3 years also, some cases.
okay. Now, generally, so COVID is an exceptional. Generally, it take 10 years. Generally, it take 10 years. Radhika, 10 years from the research completion. Why take 10 years? So generally it take 10 years because first we start with the research. When the research gets crystallized and it gets into development stage, then it goes for clinical trials. Which is the first trial? Before even go for clinical trial, we go for where? Pre-clinical trial goes where? Any idea? We apply on whom? We apply on animals first, right?
Animals like monkey,
Monkeys, rats. That's the first
rats.
one. Rabbits. These are the first one. First we try on rats and monkeys, and then rabbits and all for sensitivity and all. So first is tried on animals. Once it get tested, then do you think immediately we apply on humans, or we again apply on human test first? Then we take a sample. First test. So there are four clinical trials. First test we try on 20 to 100 healthy humans. So we select those 20 to 100 healthy humans who have no medical history. They were tested first. Once 20 to 100 trial gets over and we got a result in a week's time or whatever time no reaction happens, then we go for 100 to 300 people. So from 20 to 100, you go to 100 to 300 people. And then after that succeeds, then you go for a larger size of population, and then it is taken approval of government that now we have tried successfully, no harm has noticed, and do that. So generally it take 10 years, 8 to 10 years generally, and that too only after when your molecules get success. Now COVID was a exceptional case where it happened in 1 year. Now so I was in Middle East when this happened. So when the vaccines came, do you think everybody people was ready to take the vaccines immediately, or they needed someone to confirm that this has no reaction? Because remember, this is something new. Nobody has ever anticipated. Nobody has ever tested. So what do you think? Was people willing to take, or somebody was scared to do that? What do you think? They
Yes,
needed
people were
reassurance.
susceptible to that.
People were susceptible to that. Everybody was thinking, what should we do? How we should try? They were all scared. Now, Radhika, how do you think they should get a reassurance? How do you think? I understood your point, but now you tell me, Radhika, how do you think you can give a reassurance to them? Government certified. Now, again, come to the same question. How do you think government will certify? So, Radhika, do you agree that taste of the pudding is in eating only? Or if I certify it is very tasty, without tasting, can I say it is tasty, or I need to taste it? What do you think? Somebody need to taste it. Then only you can say, okay, he has also taken it. It does not happen. So I am talking of Middle East government. So the government started giving rewards to first week people. So they announced that we got Covaxin and Pfizer's in respective countries in clinical trial in our government labs. Those who people who will come first to get this injected on them, the government will give them incentives, prizes, and all. And then the government appealed, we want healthy people to come and try instead of giving to old and kids. So that something go wrong, the healthier people can take it. So then a lot of initiatives came. And now try to understand a situation where someone your family comes and says, okay, I would like to go for trial. And be honest to yourself. Will you promote him, push him? Yes, yes, please go ahead, or you will be susceptible again. Ki why you want to be the leader? Let's not go. Let somebody else try. What if something goes wrong? Because when humans are involved and when something is not yet ever been done in the history, and it is something first time, everybody was scared. So the government had to request a lot of people that please try, because if somebody will not come and take risk, we can never come out of it. Then slowly, a lot of people went, young people went, and then when the result got successful, nobody got hurt, and then it becomes a story that okay, this is fine. Then people started. So we all need a validation, and that's why, and because COVID was one of the event, that's why it has to be very fast. But in case of normal, take example of any drug, generally average period is 8 to 10 years generally. That is only after when the research got success. Now coming to before research, the molecule. So the general term we use it for the medicine is either the salt. Salt is the formula how it is made, or we call it molecules, how it made. Any random idea how many, like, what is the ratio of molecule testing? So 1 out of 100 pass, 1 out of 500 pass, 1 out of 1000 pass. Generally the ratio is very very low. Any vague thoughts? What is the ratio you think of molecule passing? Because not all research gets successful. So there are molecule testings. It generally takes 1 out of 5,000. Out of 5,000, 4,999 molecules destroy. They do not pass. They got stuck. Okay? So only one molecule gets success, and that's why it takes a lot of time. Now, any idea generally who funds these research generally? If I'm a businessman and I need to start pharma, do you think I would like to burn my own money to do the research? Assuming I do not have enough cash with me, then what should I do? What do you think? Who funds these research? So one is the government grant. The first is always the government grant who funds these research. Okay. So the government grant funds this research. And then apart from the government grant, apart from that, who funds after the government grant? So the
NGOs, maybe NGOs.
so one is NGOs. Just give me a minute. Let me, why my video's off? Just give me a minute. So just give me a minute. Yeah. So one is NGOs. There are a lot of research organizations. Like if you see, for example, uh, just a second. Yeah. Okay. So one is we got by grants. Other is we got. There are a lot of research institutes. Like for example, Harvard's or so. First grant is always given by government. So what does the government do? Government gives a lot of funds to various universities. Like for example, AIMS or IITs or various government organizations. So government gives them funds for research. If you're so each university will have certain plan that okay, we will take this money from government, spend on this research, because there are various, like for example, cancer. So cancer is still we have not got 100% succeed on medicines for stage 4 and all. So lot of universities, lot of governments pump in money so that they try to make a vaccine so that a life can be saved. So if the government is not giving, then many NGOs give, like Nobel Prize Commission gives, like Harvard gives, so many other or like Melinda Foundation gives. So a lot of people who are into business, CSR, they give this. Recently, if you are aware, recently the Trump government had issue with all universities. So the Trump cancelled all research funding to various universities. And then he gave certain conditions that if you follow these conditions, then only I'll give you this funding. Now, many universities have gone to the court saying that he has committed this kind of research, because if you have committed me, I'll give you $100 million and I start my research. In between, if you stop me, my entire money goes waste. So this research happens on the basis of uh, funding generated by various organizations. Once you have made money, like for example, Pfizer. Pfizer is known to be an innovator in medicines. Then they have their own in-house research and development own R&D doing, and they try to develop new medicines to shorten the pain and to faster the mechanism. In fact, they are so smart nowadays. They do a sector specific study. So, like for example, they will choose an area called, let's say, Africa. They'll say, okay, in Africa, why people get ill? So they will study that geography. They'll find out that okay, people got ill because they eat unhealthy food or something like that, or they have deficiency of vitamin D or any certain thing. Then they start making manufacturing in that sense, so that people get uh, healthy on day one. So they work on that part. Now, coming to the balance sheet. So let us review just one balance sheet of one pharma company. Any vague idea how much how much what is the ratio of tangible intangibles you will generally see in um, in this industry? Like what percentage you think generally you will find in a pharma company? Tangible, intangible, very high.
Intangible, yeah, intangible will be in around 90,000, 90 percentage, sir.
Intangible,
Intangible will be high, yeah.
intangible high. So in a normal companies, you'll find the ratio generally between 50-50 generally because why it is generally not 90, it will be 90 only in the case of those who are outsourcing the production. Those who are using CDMO in their websites, in their balance sheet, you'll find 90%. But if you see the balance sheet of those who are also manufacturing on their own, then you will find generally 50-50 for the simple reason because then I also need to spend money on plant also. So this is a balance sheet of just a second. It's a balance sheet of Sun Pharma. So Sun Pharma this is Sun Pharma company balance sheet. Now, if you see the balance sheet Sun Pharma, so all manufacturing companies will have they all have plant and machinery because of production and all. CWIP is all there. Goodwill is generally when. Any idea when do we record goodwill in our balance sheet? Any quick
Business
thoughts?
combination. Business combination.
Is a purchased goodwill.
When you have purchased goodwill only, you cannot do a self-generated goodwill. So you would have done some acquisition. For that some acquisition, you would have recorded goodwill. But this other intangible assets will be generally mostly very less of software, more of the IP products. So you'll see note 4 also what is coming in there. Now, how do an analyst or an investor would look into a balance sheet? Not only from this intangible asset. So this is one. This is already crystal clear, done and dusted. You did something and do that. More important than this, which number is more important than this? This is most important. Underdevelopment. That is very important. This shows if this number is high, that means more potential for the company to raise money, grow further, valuation will be high. But if this is constantly low, that means you are not doing much. So that means something is not doing much, you are stagnant. Because in a pharma company, R&D is the most important thing. So now, when do you think we capitalize research? India is 38. When do you think we do that? Any quick thoughts? When do you think we classify generally? So in India is 38, there is a research and development. Then what will happen? Once research is over and development starts. So Radhika, let's assume hypothetically till 31st March. Till 31st March, we are on research phase and I invested 5 crores in that research till 31st March. It has still not got into development stage till 31st March. And now 31st March get over. I did my accounting closed. We put it as a research. So research I capitalize or put into P&L. What do you think?
P&L.
We put into P&L. So research I put into P&L. Now on 5th of April, on 5th of April, we classify that the research is over. Now research is successful. Now we need to get the development. Now the expenses done in March 25, 31st March 25, the 1 crore expenses which have been P&L charged, can I write it back on 5th of April? Because now I'm going for development. Can I capitalize it now? Yes, no, maybe?
No.
We cannot do that. Once the research was there till the time 31st, Radhika, my question was of previous capitalization, previous amount which has gone into P&L. Can I take it from P&L and put it back into balance sheet? Answer would be no. So this cannot be done because standard has clearly mentioned that as long as it is in research phase, everything would be in P&L. Once you confirm the research has moved to development where tests have been done, then it will goes under capitalization of development phase. Where I am not clear, where we are gray area that it may fall under research, it may fall under development. It's a gray area. Then where do you think we should put? There's a gray area. I'm not sure. Will it go under research? Will it go under development?
Research.
Then unanimously standard has mentioned where you are not clear, consider it as a research and charge to P&L. Now, let's say my research has been over. Now development has started. Now, just because development has started, shall I put into development or I need to check some conditions?
I remember there were 6 conditions, like probable that entity has the resources, the technological feasibility.
Absolutely right. So you need to consider the conditions, whether will it make commercial sense to now expand it. Say for example, let's say we were doing in COVID clinical trials, research was successful. Now we are going for development, and suddenly hypothetically assume that by taking neem leaves, all COVIDs get over. Hypothetically, I'm just giving a hypothetical assumption. Hypothetically assume by just taking neem leaves, by boiling neem leaves into the water, and entire COVID gets away. Now, do you think will a pharma company will manufacture that or drop the idea of manufacturing? They will drop the idea of manufacturing because now it is not making sense. So you need to, even after development got confirmed, you need to check those conditions, whether it will be technical feasibility, commercial viability, and then the intent of the promoter is to continue. That needs to be conditions, and then only try to get the capitalization of those development expenses. So this intangible under development is always looked as a benchmark by investors, regulators, valuers on getting accepting future growth. Normally, financial assets they generally put in subsidiaries generally. So we'll just go into that. Any idea, any vague idea, how much was the turnover of Sun Pharma? Sun Pharma is a pharma company manufacturing. They maintain their own manufacturing. Any vague numbers? How much $1 million you think could be their turnover? They sell more than 140 countries plus. Any guesswork? How much revenue would be there? By seeing the 2,399 million is their capital, and the total reserves is 2,40,999 million reserves. So their P&L is approximately
2 lakhs million.
2 lakhs million is their P&L. So that's what the P&L is, 2 lakhs million.
Well, I guessed from the other equity, it's showing 2 lakhs 40 million. So around I eliminated some of the reserve from my mind. So I put approximately 2 lakhs million.
Fine. So there's 2 lakh million. That's the turnover there. So this is the kind of turnover you have in pharma industry. Now, I'll just take on what is on the research part, on the intangibles, what assets are showing. So goodwill is something which we buy, that's goodwill. And in terms of, so see what they do when they buy goodwill and other intangible assets, product related intangibles are also there. When we say product related intangibles, if I would have acquired some IPR, that will also come here. And now see, so this is something what we discussed was first, what intangibles we have. So it is all IPRs, patent, whatever it is, that would come here. And where you think your patent is not working, you charge to the impairment. Now here intangible assets under development. So like I had 3,000 million intangibles. I added some opening incurred during the year, capitalize something which have been successful, will go to the capitalization. Now, in case I think certain WIP need to be written off, then we do a impairment testing. So this impairment testing, so under Ind AS 36, so in exam, if question comes generally or for your knowledge, under Ind AS 36, vendors impairment testing is mandatory every year. So one is when there is an external indicators or internal indicators, it is mandatory. But when we have no external indicators, no external internal indicators, then when it is mandatory, when either you have goodwill in your books, then every year you need to get it done. So if you have a goodwill in your books, then every year you need to get it done mandatory, even if there is no indication. Second, when you have intangible assets under development, then every year you need to get it done. Once you have WIP intangibles, you need to get it done every year. Any idea what is the third situation where it needs to get done every year?
Indefinite life intangible asset.
So where you have those assets which have indefinite life, like for example, you have brands. So where you have indefinite life assets, then mandatory need to be done every year. So these are the only three conditions where every year impairment testing needs to be done. This needs to be done. I'll just take forward the policy of research and development just for your. So you give a detail of whatever research has happened. You need to put it here. Like for example, if you say because they have in-house, because they have a in-house, because they have a in-house, because they have a in-house R&D research development team. So that's where the majority money is coming from salaries. So the maximum salaries they have put in. Then they put in staff welfare expenses as normal, and then consumption of material in stores. So because there are a lot of trial and error happens, it is not it is a hit and trial. You spend a lot of money in various activities that would delay that would show. So all this needs to mention what all have you incurred on those, and then if there is a receipt from research activities that you show and net off. Because if I'm doing research and somebody is funding me, I'll do net off, and then we'll show only the net amount that is debited to P&L. That's what is done in research and development. So we mentioned what is the total research and development expenditure, and whatever you have capitalized during the year, whatever has been capitalized, that also added that okay, from this much research, how much has been capitalized, that we mentioned. Just a second. Now, again, the policy, they always mention in a policy that when we are doing a research, till now where it is expense and where it is development, then we capitalize. Once it is ensured that development costs can be measured reliably, technical, commercial, feasible, future economic benefits are probable. This is most important. If the future economic benefits are not probable, nobody will recognize the asset. Like for example of COVID, I gave you. If imagine just by adding neem leaves in a warm water, entire COVIDs get off. There'll be no future economic benefits available because then mandatory medicine will not serve any purpose. So, and the company is so these all need to be put into these guidelines. They need to be followed. Similar to this, if you take Pfizer balance sheet is a little bit different, but they're the same stuff. More into because here Pfizer India is if you compare Pfizer India balance sheet, that will be a different story. If you compare Pfizer global balance sheet, that will be a different story. Because in India, Pfizer works like as a branch office of global Pfizer company. So that's why you'll not find much intangibles work in development here because that's not in India much. So this is broad on industry perspective. Let me take on this presentation slides and start just again. Now, before that, just to mention some type of drugs and patents to understand. Now, there are some kind of medicines. For that, do you need a prescription or you will get without prescription? Some medicines are known as OTC medicines, over the counters, where you don't need a prescription. You just go and ask, like for example, paracetamol, Dolo, Vicks. So something you go and they will strep cells, they will give you over the counter because their nature is that you can get it. But then,
I think on the medicine, the tablet strip, there may be some symbol will be there.
yes. So they will tell that this is something which is to be given anyone who comes on the counter because they are not that harmful. But certain medicines will be given only when there is a doctor prescription because that can have an impact on your health, especially when it has alcohol in it, where it has a impact to sedative medicines in it that way. Now, one of the biggest challenges of pharma industry, which you have not mentioned, nobody mentioned that. One of the biggest challenge was you spend a lot of amount on research and development. You succeeded something. You got a patent and the patent expires. Patent is not for lifetime. Patent is for certain periods. Any idea? Generally, patent is for how many years? Generally, any idea? Any idea? Generally, patent is for how many years? Generally, the patent is for
25 years.
Generally, it is 20 years. Generally, the patent is for 20 years. That's the time. 95 years, nobody will give you a patent for 95 years. 95 years can be a copyright. Patent will not give you 95 years, right? Because 95 years is a huge, big amount. Then you will not let then this entire century will go in your creation. So the government will not allow that. But the biggest challenge is after 20 years, when my patent is getting over, will the generic medicine will take over? No, that's fine. No, that's fine. What will happen? Will the generic medicine will take over? And I'm sure you know the price gap between generic medicines and normal medicines. Very nominal difference or significant difference between a generic medicine and a branded medicine? Ask anybody.
Significant difference in prices are there.
Significant difference prices. And what is the impact on the body reaction? Will the quality is different or too much different or almost in the same lines? It will be like 80-100 ratio difference or significant difference.
Almost same, I think.
Almost same. Ask anybody who is into pharma industry or this medical industry line, they will tell it is almost the same impact. But it works like a impact that it's like a branded taking a branded shirt and taking a non-branded shirt. How it impact psychologically it gives you. But till last few years, it was not that rampant. Last 10 years onwards, the government is promoting the generic medicines. They opened many centers in India for generic medicines. So because of cost effectiveness, a lot of people are moving towards that, and that becomes a challenge. I'll take last part on issues in this industry, then we'll go to the case study to understand more. How do you think selling happens in this industry? So let's say I made a medicine of headache or stomach ache or liver, kidney proper function. As a pharma company, do I go and keep selling by advertisement? Shall I shall I hire Bollywood actresses and do advertisement of my medicines that eat this and your fatty liver will be cheap? Or how do we market that? How do the
Sir,
pharma
I think there is a lot of medical representatives there. They are sitting. See, when I am visiting the
this
hospitals, before
you
me,
always
there are
find them?
many people are sitting. They
Yeah.
are waiting for their appointment.
Then when you find somebody in coat tie suit and sitting in hospital, that's someone from medical representative is coming and meeting the doctors. Now this is sold either by wholesalers or by through doctors or by chain of hospitals. And because earlier the companies, because see, as a patient, if I am a patient, I will trust on what my doctor says or what advertisement says or what Shah Rukh Khan will say, or let's say Amitabh Bachchan will say, take this medicine, or I will rely on my doctor, what they will say. What do you think? Which will give me more comfort?
Doctor only, sir. We never
Always by
believe.
doctor. We
We
never
never
believe in
believe them.
advertisement. And especially on this kind of scene where tomorrow, if I do not say, let's say my doctor is saying, say paracetamol, let's say, and let's say name the most current latest fans of heroine, let's say any Bollywood actors, latest, let's say Shraddha Kapoor, or let's say I forget the name of heroines. With my time, let's say Madhuri Dixit, okay. Let's say she says that, okay, so we take Dolo. And I have taken Dolo because she said. And then I went to a doctor and said, sir, I'm not getting proper treatment. Doctor will say, I told you to take paracetamol. You have taken from the advertisement. Now I will not treat you. So I cannot risk of interfering with doctor's choice. So that's why their challenge is they need to get doctors. Now imagine if Dolo tells a doctor that if you prescribe my medicines, I'll give you one Dubai trip. Paracetamol come to and say, paracetamol say, okay, if you prescribe my medicines, I will give you Dubai trip and I also give your wife also a Dubai trip. Now what will happen? So it is very difficult to tap the doctors, because the moment doctors start changing the medicine, it impacts my business. And therefore they come into long-term agreements with wholesalers, with distributors to sell the sell the medicines. So this becomes a huge challenge how to sell it, because this does not sell by advertisements. By advertisement, you can just make your name. It only sells through doctors, through wholesalers that way. Last part of business, medicines. So let's say when pharma is made, how many of you ever buy any medicine on app for any of your relatives or for home use? There are a lot of apps, aggregator apps, like for example, Farm Easy, Med Plus, Tata 1mg, or many others aggregators. Anyone of you ever bought from them? 1mg. Anybody has ever used any app?
So
Do
NetMed,
you
NetMed.
NetMed? Okay, NetMed. Well, if you use NetMed, do you get some discount from the shopkeeper, lesser than the shopkeeper price, or at the same price you get it?
So 15% discount I got.
15%. Generally, you get 15, 20, 30, depending on medicine you're buying.
Yes,
How do
sir.
they afford this discount? How do they afford this discount? Any idea?
So like they purchase wholesale from the factory itself, so that's why they give discount.
So all these aggregators, they remove all middlemen, directly go to the company and takes by the company. And what they do, they start the so every company used to have agent codes. So every company, what they do, they have distributors code. So they'll make distributor. They buy all the distributor codes. They directly buy all the medicine from them at a very bulk. So pan-India medicine, if I buy them at a bulk and then I distribute on my own network, it comes very cheap to me. And that's why they're giving you 15, 20, 30% discount. In many prices, you'll find the discount higher, a lot of cashbacks because of they the money they have is huge. The kind of saving they make on a bulk order is huge. That's why these all apps are making rounds of the day and they're getting huge foreign funding because medicine is a non-negotiable item. I cannot hold. Now in medicine, if I want to start a business of medicine, what do you think I should start? Shall I start? There are two choices with me. Which one you think? And there is nothing right, nothing wrong, just on your thought process. Tell me which one should I start business? The one is multivitamin tablets, or the one is a painkiller. Which one you think I should start doing a business? Given a choice, I need to choose one.
So, can I go for other option instead of this two?
Okay. Any other option you have?
So, as like what I researched nowadays, cancer is like a fever nowadays.
Correct.
I'll
Correct.
start cancer also. Like,
Okay. Now see, now imagine you are into an exam and MCQ have only two options, right? Now you cannot go for third option. Now
yes.
you need to choose this option. No, I understand what you're saying. So that's why if you remember, I said in my first deliberation that certain still we have not able to get cure of cancer, right? Because stage 4 still we don't have a cure, despite our government and global governments are spending millions, but that's the difficult. Now, the reason why I asked this question is for something different. I'll ask this question and I'll tell you why I said this. So again, given a choice, someone will go for painkiller. Someone you have formula of both. Radhika. Radhika is a very pure businessman. Sir, आप बताओ पहले मेरा molecule है क्या? Radhika, assume you have both the molecules, but you can manufacture only one. That's my question. You don't have a choice of manufacturing two. You can choose only one.
Sir, I will choose multivitamin, sir.
Okay, you'll choose multivitamin. And as I mentioned, there is nothing wrong in this answer, whatever you choose, but I'd like to know the reasons and then I'll come to the reason.
Painkiller because pain and fear sells more.
Painkiller. Okay. Radhika, you're not still answer the question. You'll prefer what? Painkiller. Okay, I got the message. Fine. Okay. Because problem is certain messages are coming directly to me. That's why I'm not able to see all message. Fine. Now tell me, as fear sells more, right? We agree fear sells more. Good to have, Radhika. People are sending me message separately. That's I can change the settings. See, I'm having main chat where a lot of people are sending message, but then I'm getting a personal chat. So that's the reason I was not able to get. That's what I'm saying. Right? Now coming to the point, good to have will good to have is must. Good to have will give me good money, or must to have will give me good money. One thing,
Must-
premium I can charge on good to have or must to have.
Good to
So
have.
painkiller is
Good
painkiller
to,
is
sir.
must to have.
Good to have only, sir.
No, painkiller is must to have. Okay. So let's say multivitamin tablets will make me feel good. Can I postpone this? I can postpone this, right? But if I am having a severe headache, can I postpone this? Answer
No.
is no. So
No.
painkillers. So just to put this analogy, if I am a consultant who just who just files IT return, let's say IT return, I'm a consultant files IT return, or I'm a consultant who handles litigations, where I think I can charge higher
Litigation.
as a
Litigation will
I
higher.
charge much higher, right? With due
Yes, sir.
regards to both the knowledge, with due regards to both the knowledges. So that's why good to have is good to have, but painkiller is must to have. Then only you charge premium, and that's why you see all are all top pharma companies, they are not coming into herbals or ayurvedic, because they say, like herbals, there are certain medicines you feel good to have, certain drinks you energize your mood and all. They are not coming to that much because they say, okay, these are good to have, you may take, you may not take. But when it comes to must to have, all painkillers, you start from Dolo, start from paracetamol, Vicks, Strepsils, So if my throat is not fine, I'll go for Vicks or Strepsils, whatever it works on. So you need to put opportunity.
Yes, sir. Amirdan, Jandu bombs. Yes, so all advertisement also is coming in this area.
Correct. That way. So this way you need to always look for, because when you are selling something, your product has a limitation. My capital has a limitation, my resource has a limitation, my time has a limitation. If you are a consultant, let's say tomorrow you all become business consultants, so your time has a limitation. So should you spend time on good to have or must to have? Client will never pay for good to have. Good to have can be prolonged, can be deferred. Must to have, he will always pay you, and you can always charge a premium. That's the time they will do that. Absolutely, Radhika, and that is the reason why. Radhika, again with due regards to homeopathy, why homeopathy is not preferred much, because it heals internally but takes long time. But why painkillers? Because instantly it gives you relief. And now we all are Gen Z. I'll not say all are, at least you all are Gen Z generation, right? So we need instant gratification, we need instant pain relief. I don't have patience to wait for 7 days and take small medicines, four medicines each time, right? So these things we need to understand when you make a business plan, where you need to invest. Now let me start the presentation and start taking some points to discuss. Okay. So now today is a pharmaceutical case study which was uploaded on the server. It is there on the platform, BS platform also, and it is on the chat link also. They have shared. The case study starts with story of Dr. Anand Srinivasan, who has made a company in 1960 in the name of Suraj Pharma. Later on becomes a global leader in pharmaceuticals. They started with small, but because of their unique products and their focus on specialty chemicals, specialty drugs, they got a huge success. Anand was a visionary and he was a great scientist, and he wanted to have affordable medicines. Establishment in 1960 as a research lab. You start with a small research lab. Initial focus was just to have generic alternative to expensive branded drugs. At times you will see, and if you just search it, there was a program by Amir Khan, Satyamev Jayate, long time in Star News, Star Plus. Some medicines are at 800, 900 rupees strip. In government facility centers, they are given at 20 to 30 rupees entire strip. That's the difference between generic and branded drugs. But because people were not aware at the time, they only go with the brand just to have a comfort. And there is a placebo effect. And what does a placebo effect does? If I take something branded, I'll become much better faster. Generic may be a local. That's why it has a huge impact on sales. But later on, people realize with the advertisements going on, and people accepted that generic is also as good as this. Thus, just because it is cheap does not mean it is bad. So that started. The only challenge with this pharma industry is funding is always limited. Nobody would like to fund a company where the result is unsure. Because if you do a testing, do you think a bank would give a loan to a pharma company and you please try the research,
No, sir.
and they will not give. Why they will not give? It's a good thing, noble task, right? Why they will not give?
Because the risk is high, sir.
Because bank gives a loan on based on the earning capacity, and research expenses does not have fixed earning capacity.
Absolutely.
Yeah, repayment will be doubtful.
Repayment will be challenged, because despite despite you give a collateral, despite you say, do you think if you go to the bank and say, look sir, I'm trying to go for a research, and if it does not work out, and if it fails, you can sell my plant and machinery and recover. Do you think bank would be happy to accept this loan proposal where the people is willing to give a collateral? Answer would
No,
be
sir.
no.
No, sir. Because the
No.
procedural, the selling the things and getting the bidding and the wasting, they are unnecessarily logging their fund.
Absolutely. So no bank would like to give a loan only on the basis of collateral. They would like the primary purpose for which the loan is given. If that is able to give the answer, then give the results, they will do it. And here in a research, it is 50-50 uncertainty. 50 we are very optimistic saying. Ideally, it is 1 in 99%. Because as I mentioned, out of 5,000 molecules testing, only one pass. And when it passes, then it becomes a history. So it takes a lot of time for molecules to get passed, and that's why they do not. Give loan to bank funding. So their biggest challenge was this. So generally, these are funded by doctors or someone who has inclination towards pharma industry, or someone who has extra cash lying and he want to do something. That's it comes in. So from local lab, they become a global player. They had a good R&D manufacturing. They try to bring innovation in medicines, and they try to keep price low, because if your product is good, people will fund you because they know you can multiply money quickly. Their sales was in almost 100 plus countries. In 6 continents they were serving, and they have a different patient database. Their one of the biggest skill was the supply chain and global distribution network was in control. Anybody who had worked on supply chain management, that where material will come, where raw material will be sourced, what is the supply use, it will be good. If you don't have supply chain properly, it becomes a huge issue. So just to take out of the context, one of the factories which was launched in UP in Muzaffarpur, some Israeli company came to Muzaffarpur and started a product of waste management company to develop a methane gas from waste management. So they put a huge plant and all. They did that, but the biggest blunder they did was they forgot to work on supply chain management. And in a waste management company, the biggest thing was to get a waste. So they did not get a waste. Now you'll say how it is not possible to get a waste in a country where people throw rubbish here and there. The company was not working. The methane will not come from any waste. There is certain sulfuric value of molecules. If only that comes, then only the methane will be produced. So they were not able to get the garbage of that respective quality, and that supply chain did not function well. So if you have entire supply chain end to end, that from where the input will come, where output will go, how it will be processed, how it will reach to the end customers. Like for example, how does all 1 mg or 1 mg or all Farm Easy, Dawa Dost, Dawa Dukan, all these works. If I order today morning, by when do you think I'll get it? 7 days, 5 days, 2 days, or within few hours, or same day I'll get a medicine? Where do you think? What do you think? Generally, how much time it will take? Long hours, long days, or very quickly they will come?
Very quickly.
Very quickly, because this is a necessity. It is not a luxury product. It's not like I'm ordering iPhone and I need right now. If it does not come, it will become. If the supply is there, then it will come within few hours. Now they are trying to tie up with. So if you've seen their hub and spoke model, they try to match with your nearest shopkeeper. So that's the way their power of technology they've used, power of AI, so that immediately the order can be delivered. Because why they are going for immediately? If I order a medicine and it is taking me 1 day to come, will I wait for 1 day or walk 5 minutes from the next shop in my area and get that medicine? I'll walk 5 minutes in that area and get my medicine from a local shop instead of waiting for 1 day. So that's why you need to ensure that your distribution network is strong and product is done. You always need to comply with regulatory. So in India, we have CDMA. Globally, it is Central Drug Store that gives you a license of all drugs. Globally, FDA, if you get an FDA license, all other countries in the world will give you access, because FDA license getting approval is very, very strict. It takes 1 to 2 years for getting approval, because they are actually gold standards, they call it. Once anybody gets a US FDA license, even if you're not selling anything, your company has a worth. So that means you have a good opportunity.
Sir, I have a doubt regarding this.
Please.
Sir, US FDA license is for the USA only or for the all over the world?
So it is only for USA, but it is just like anybody who travel abroad, anybody who ever travel abroad, little bit on has idea of abroad travel, little bit. So I'll give an example. If I take US visa on my passport, okay, what do you think? Certain countries will allow me without any visa. Can I walk through? Can I do a walk-in their embassy on the airport? Yes, no, maybe. If I have a US visa on my passport, what do you think?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
But the US
But
visa is allowed to enter some of the European countries as well.
some European country, right? Right? Why is that so? Why do you think they allow me? Why do you think
Because
they do that?
because that is a privileged under the rules and condition and accepting that visa and
Absolutely,
getting that
absolutely.
the see actually the US is a principle based.
So it is not like I'll give some money to the counter and say, give me visa, they'll not give me, right? So here, bribery does not work. Here, it needs to follow the process. I should have passed all the standards required to issue a visa. I would have got it on my merits. That's why. So getting a US visa is like a validation that you are a good guy. So when US has certified me, so all other countries will say, because this country would have done a thorough check on you, that means if you got a clearance from US, that means you can get in our country easily. Similarly, when US FDA gives the approval to you, that means you have touched the gold standard. That means you have covered everything what is required under the sun to become a best pharma making company. So if US has given, it gives a validation to all other countries like Europe. Europe will blindly go on US. That if US has given, FDA has given, Europe will easily open doors for you. That's why you'll see majority people first try to go and take US FDA approval. Once that is done, all other becomes it's like pack of cards fall in line. Just but getting a US FDA it takes a lot of requirement. They come and visit, so they will come and even visit without even telling you. If somebody is coming to my home and he tells me I'm coming to your home, what do you think? I'll keep my home in neat and tidy order because he has told me he's coming. So I'll try to show my best foot. But what if
Ye-
somebody comes? What if somebody
Yes,
comes without announcement?
yes, sir. That will be difficult
That will
to
be difficult,
manage.
right? And that is a true picture, right? That's a true what I am. So they at times they come without even announcement. So whatever you are, you cannot do fudging there. So that's why US FDA is considered very highly difficult to obtain. And your valuation in pharma industry or valuation when somebody try to sell his company, valuation depends on if you have US FDA approvals. If you have it, you get a different level valuations. So based on their efforts, they become fourth largest pharmaceutical company globally, number one in India domestic market. They their their presence is in complex, high value therapeutic areas. Key contributor to global pharma exports, as I mentioned, they're large in exports. Their specialty generics, their expertise in complex formulations and specialty generics. So luckily, last 3 months I'm doing a valuation of a pharma company. Luckily, so I got a little bit more insights on pharma company. There is one. So again, it is one of the, and coincidentally, it is also Pfizer only. It is one of the Pfizer's. Pfizer has given one subcontract to one of the companies in India. In one of the Indias, they got a contract. The process to start molecule 2.5 years have been taken by approval by Pfizer to approve that molecule. And when we start studying that, so first there is a component A, it merges into component B. So since I'm not from a science student, so I thought, okay, A and B mix, molecule happens. Okay, no, that is a starting point. So A and B making, that is one molecule. Then they will make C and D, another molecule. Then they will put into the factory, whatever the furnace and burning places to get heat and all. So its process is not as simple as we think. It is a very complicated process. Machines come from Germany or somewhere where no calibration is permitted, not even 1 ounce. So everything is automated. You don't make by hand. So least intervention by human, but again fully controlled by humans to see inputs are fine and outputs are fine. The regulators comes and check. The government department comes and takes samples wherever a new sample is pushed. And what happens to a waste medicines? So let's say I made a medicine. Lifestyle is 5 years. 5 years got over. What should I do now?
It has to be dumped and destroyed.
Dumped and destroyed. And who need to collect it?
Waste management company.
It is the pharma company will take it, because if I am the pharma company, it becomes my responsibility. I will get it collected from all my agents whom I would have sold. I'll give them credit notes and all. I need to get it destroyed, because these are chemicals, these are medicines. I cannot just throw them in the garbage, because if somebody eats those expired medicines, it have a huge impact on it. Even though if it is a animals who eat from the stray waste material, I'm not allowed to just dump it. My duty would be to collect it, get it burned into furnace, and get it destroyed completely. So this becomes a huge challenge for pharma companies if the product is not sold. That's why, and the biggest problem of this is, imagine I'm a FMCG company, I'm having a biscuits company. Uh, I know my expiry date is coming near. 3 months is expiry. Can I announce one on one free? Can I increase my sale announcing like that? Buy one get one free? Yes, no, maybe.
Yes,
I
sir.
can I can I
In
can do that.
yeah, in the Reliance Mart also,
You
they
do that.
put a lot of power like that.
This is a way, because I know it is getting expired, so you do that. That's why you try to do it. Can I do this in pharma company? Take one medicine free because we are getting expired. Will not
No,
do
sir.
that, right?
I think
That will
before expiry of 6 months, they will do some process, I believe.
no. So what they do because we work for one pharma company who deals into this process of damaging this. So once the 6 months is getting near, they will check a demand in all the areas. So they will say, okay, let's say Jaipur store has 100 medicines, whereas Delhi store has no medicines or 10 medicines. So they will try to shift material from Jaipur to Delhi so that it can be consumed. So they see the patterns of the demand and try to distribute the stock pan India where it can be consumed much faster. Because it may happen some places the stock is lying dump, no other customers are coming. So they try to do analytical process and try to shift the product to safeguard. That's what they do. Now they want to do a lot of research and development for high value therapeutics addressing unmet medical needs. Because there are a lot of medical needs which are still met. Like I'll give, for example, mental health. I'll give us just mental health wellness. This thing was not touched from so many years because of sheer inhibition or not considered actual issue. But now a lot of companies, medical pharma companies, have started coming in, started making certain vitamins to get it better, because the mood swings and all, these are all related to our toxins, our chemicals in our brains. So started working on that. Still a lot of needs to be done on that, but they try to work on this unmet medical needs. They try to give affordable healthcare access to all people, and this can happen only with partnership and innovation led growth with regulators or government grants. So they tried to become successful, highly successful. They are making a specialty drugs, advanced technology. The challenge with this company is high barriers to entry, because manufacturing is rigorous, complex manufacturing. Not everybody can do it. Like in skilled labor and regulatory approval is not easy to get it. And you need to have capabilities in information science. It is not as easy as it looks like. It's not 2 plus 2 4, a theoretical process. Regulatory compliance is very difficult here. Indian market is always brand presence. Since they are leader in chronic therapy cases, they can easily get the sales. Sales is not an issue. They wanted to address new areas like psychiatry, neurology, antibacterial, diabetes management. And this diabetes management becomes one of the growing areas of concern across the globe. So they wanted to do something on that. They had a huge facilities of construction across 6 continents, strategically located for global reach. Supply chain efficiency is the most important point. In any business, supply chain efficiency is very important. You need to know where the input will come, you need to know where process will go, and you need to know how output will be handled. If you miss in any of the points, entire business fails. Because it's a pharma company, quality standards cannot be ignored. It is non-negotiable. Now, I'm sure you would have seen cases where you have seen a restaurant, any restaurant where you find one rat, one fly, and it gives a very bad image to that restaurant, and it comes on social media that this restaurant is not giving quality foods and all. So similarly, when restaurant becomes a big issue, when we are talking of a product which is related to health, any issues comes in any of the health, any of the medicine manufacturing details, it becomes a huge issue. So we need to have huge compliance system, and that's why all ISO tests are done, all quality assurance systems are done. They ensure that norms are followed by FDA, EMA, and WHO. All whatever the US government says, that norms are followed. They focus on patient safety first, then product efficacy and regulatory compliance. As I mentioned, you need to have end-to-end oversight from from cradle to grave. So this business is known as from cradle to grave. That from the birth of of the medicine till the grave, that till the end, either it uses to the customer's end, that is fine. If for some reason it does not reach to the customer's point of view, then it need to again go back to the destruction. So that all need to be taken care from by the company to ensure. Now they want to do focus on R&D investments. So to have a strong focus on cutting edge. Now, because their prices were very high and they were able to sell $80 million because of the patent. Because if you have a patent, then other companies cannot sell that product. Because of the patent, you can sell the product. And because you are selling the product and you have like for example, we all know Covaxin. So when COVID came in India, Aadhar Poonawalla company got a patent on Covaxin. Now only they could sell Covaxin in India for n number of years. So they got for 20 years. Now that was the time they could make as much money as they could make, whatever terms they want. Because it was a separate story, it was a life and death. That's why they may not have that much scenario. But if we talk of others, they were not COVID shields. So it was not they. It was since it was a life and death. So that was they did not charge very high. Had it be a normal scenario, had it be other, if they, let's say tomorrow they would have got a cancer medicine, let's say, then they could have charged any prices they have because they have a uh, limited life of 20 years to make money. Because after that it will be gone public. They wanted to become a leader in dermatology. They had a huge doctor groups. Sustainable growth they wanted to continue to look for. And to have a sustainable growth, you need to have a supply chain management. You need to have future innovations to come. Research, they were all doing fine. Testing is all done pre-clinic and trials we discussed. We first always do preclinical. When we say preclinical means it is tested on animals. Once it is successful on animals, it go for clinical trials on human trials. Then you need to take approval of government and then you need to show the product. And then people volunteer 1 to 20 to 100. And then it starts going on phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4. The biggest challenge of this pharma industry, as we discussed, is most molecules fail testing. Because when the testing happens, 1 out of 5,000 only pass. That means 4,999 fails. Now, when it fails, it means a lot of efforts have been wasted on, a lot of resources have been wasted on. So we need to work with a lot of efficiency and efficacy to get the right set of workout. Because 1 out of 5,000 means how much resources would have been wasted. So it takes a lot of substantial cost capital intensive expenditure. And remember, if I tell a customer that you pay me for my 4,910 failures, would you like to give me? He may not like to give me for that. So that becomes a challenge. So you need to ensure how you can market it. That customer do not feel the pinch. Customer will feel you failed 4,999. Why are you taking from me? So that's what the customer prefers, not to treat it that way. Now, they wanted to do a collaborative research with academicians and universities. As I mentioned, the research first comes from universities and academicians. Generally, the people who take doctorate, the PhD, they are supposed to do something in this. Unfortunately, in now PhD is now actually losing relevance. People are just taking for the namesake of putting doctor in their name. The real discoveries are not happening much. Very few people are actually doing research, because the problem is nobody pays for a research, because again the risk of the research is, if you succeed you can get huge, but if your research do not succeed, nobody will like to pay. So there's a very old saying, success has thousand fathers, failure is orphan. So when somebody fails, nobody like to pay for a failure for research, but they forget, without trying you can never get the right molecule. Now their patent was getting expired. There is a limited life of patent. So what did people do? Initially, when you have a patent, you charge very high, because you know there is no other option. People have to buy your medicine. Once the patent is getting over, then you reprice. So suppose if I'm charging 100 rupees for a medicine and my patent get over, and I know if my patent get over, so other players will also come in. When my patent will get over, other players who are also in the pharma industry, they can start copy pasting and start developing my product. That can happen. So to avoid that, what I will do, my 100 rupees product, I'll try to sell it 40, 50 rupees, or to the price where my competitors could sell, because I will have one advantage over the competitors. What advantage I have over the competitors? Any idea?
Already
Re-
existing facilities.
Sir, retain the market.
I can always retain the market because people know my name, people know me. And if I even sell cheap, people can still come to me that way. Okay. So this way, I will always look for trying to sell at a throwaway price, so that, because I've already sell at higher price, so people know me, my name isn't there in the market, where my competitor will need to take efforts to sell. So if I can sell in a reasonable price, so I can always try to increase my sales. So that's they try to do that. As I mentioned, generic marketers will always enter. Once it get over, I cannot stop them. And if I am also generic, that's a strength. Benefit of generic is low production cost, because you don't need to do R&D, because somebody has already done it for you. So it is like learning from others' mistakes or other fortune. He has done enough. Take the formula and do affordable pricing, because you don't need to invest anything on that. Market will also reduce the drugs prices, because market works on demand and supply. If I can give you the same product at a lesser price, people will take that, because now we have price sensitive population now, and which will always be there. Now, since they have one product called Refim, now they need to decide post patent, what should I do post patent. Once my patent get expired, then they have a choice to reduce the price. So that's what they said, that my price I need to reduce because it is expiry approaching. Competitors will come, so I need to reevaluate my pricing strategy. They decided that if I decrease 4 rupees in my price, my demand will increase by 8,000 batches minimum. That's the minimum demand increase, 8,000 batches. And maximum demand I can take up is 1 lakh, 1 million batches. That's what I can take in. My cost for manufacturing the salt is coming 30 rupees approx in 1 gram and 120 is per. So approximately it is coming 150 rupees to make one molecule, make one medicine. It is coming 150 per batch. That's the cost I'm getting, only material cost. The reason why we are going for is for strategic focus. I need to optimize price to maximize contribution. Demand and unit profitability need to ensure. Post patent, I need to ensure my sales begin, because if my patent gets over and my sales get dropped, I'll have still loss, because there is a lot of fixed cost to incur. If I have a factory, that rentals, that electricity, something will continue to incur. The staff which I've hired, I cannot do a hire fire. So I need to ensure that I keep the sales momentum going on. My batch level cost is, as we discussed, the material cost is 150 rupees. Machine time is 30 minutes per hour. So at least for half an hour, it takes half an hour for one batch. So that means 20 rupees. My labor outsource is 38 rupees 60. Fixed is 35, depending on 3 lakh batches. 1 million maximum we can go. So it is approximately 150, 170, and 170 plus 60, almost 230, 230, 240 approximately we can have a cost approx. Workforce shift to high impact interval drugs for viral. The way he thought to reduce the price is to fully outsource. If I fully outsource, it will reduce my price. But the only challenge is if I outsource it, dependency on labor will be more. So that I need to decide, should I go for price or should I go for labor dependency? I got government grant of 80 crore rupees. The government is giving me 80 crore grants for doing a research and development for a low cost CN vaccine. So there is a vaccine whom research has done, now development has happened. So government has said it is a high cost vaccine. We want you to reduce the price. So that's why I'm giving you 80 crore grants. This grant is given for 2 years because the government wants to ensure national public health priorities. So that's why the government is giving grant. The condition of the grant is, so India's 20 and AS 12 goes works for government grants. The condition of the grant is, when the government gives a grant, they say your job is develop a cost reduced manufacturing process so that the price can be cheaper for this vaccine. And your target is produce 40% less the production cost. That's what you need to do. Timeline is 2 years. So you need to work in 2 years. 2 years you need to work in, 2 years you need to get it done. That's what needs to be done. Okay. Now, this can have Suraj Pharma reputation as affordable medicine. If they do that, if they reduce the price in 2 years based on government budget, it will be good. Companies' expertise will be considered high in complex, high value drug production, and it will have a huge social impact. Because when you do and sell something which, let's say, for example, of COVID shield, it has a huge social impact because you are doing something good for public. So it has a huge social impact. So that's why they try to do this project. Now, how does their internal supply chain model works? Suraj supplies a drug to its own formulation unit in another state. So you supply a drug intermediate. So as I mentioned, when you make a molecule, it's not only one A plus B. Multiple intermediate products come, you formulate in one place. And then intermediate is unique to the company. Only your company can use this. No external market exists for this intermediate because nobody has this patent. And there are no comparable substitute for this because this is only your product. From intermediate, it is converted into finished formulation internally. So there is a factory, as I mentioned, in a lab, it goes there. From finished formulation comes in, and then you make it a product. You just make it as a either as a capsule or you as a tablet or as a powder or as a syrup. You make it, and the production, everything packing happens there. This way, you ensure that control of quality is there mentioned. Consistency in formulation and compliance. As I mentioned, if I outsource something, I need to ensure compliance of my factory. I also need to ensure compliance of that outsourced vendor. So this becomes a huge challenge. So that part need to be ensured. It helps me in proper distributions. Benefit of getting inside is my dependency on external suppliers get reduced. My quality and supply chain risk gets reduced because everything is under my control. I can manage both sides. My transfer pricing, governance, and traceability is ensured because I can demonstrate from one end to another end how it has gone. That can be done. Now, we'll take a quick 10 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes break now. And once we come after that break, then we'll take questions on this part on FEMA, on intangibles, on patents, and on certain issues. So it's 8:05 now. We take a quick break and come at 8:15. Fine?
Okay, sir. Thank you.
they are looking for a restructuring. Now, there's a concept of lean organization. So what happens when you have a lot of assets and you think that carrying on a lot of baggages may not be good. So you want to demerge some assets, you want to transfer some assets. So they thought of taking a demerger. So first of all, any idea what happens in a demerger? So let's say I am a company ABC Limited. I have a division C Limited. C is a division in my organization, which let's say manufactures, let's say vitamin B supplements only. And now I realize that I don't want to go into good to have medicines. I want to have a painkillers. Let's say that's my thought process. So I want to demerge this division. So what happens in a demerger? Anyone has any idea what happens in a demerger? Practically, what will happen in a demerger? Transactional wise, any quick thoughts?
The particular division will be sold to some other entity, and they will
Okay.
retain the remaining division.
Okay. And so how the transaction will settle? How I will get money? What I will get? Consideration part is my consideration. How this consideration will be settled? So let's say, take example, my balance sheet is of 100 crores, total is 100 crore balance sheet. 20 crore is the division C value which we want to sell and exit from our company. What will happen now? So,
New,
So
new
now the
company.
shareholders of the old company will get the shares of the new company also.
okay. So what will happen in my balance sheet? So Radhika, what do you think? What will happen in my balance sheet? So part of company is getting separated. Shares of new entity are given to old company shareholders. So balance sheet with 20 crore gap, how should I fill that? You understood my question? You're taking assets of 20 crores out from my balance sheet. Money you're paying to shareholders. But the problem of the balance sheet is it should balance from both the sides. So
Capital
20 crore
reduction.
capital
Reduction.
Sir,
capital reduction. What do you think? Am I reducing the shares? Probably no. Probably no. So capital reduction may not fit in. Then what will happen? Any quick thoughts?
sir, generally it will happen in the demerger under the common control. They
May or
will
may not be. May or may
yeah.
not be. May or may not be. But okay, assuming it is a common control. Okay. Then so I will adjust always. It should be adjusted against the reserves. So the balance sheet will take a hit. Asset side will be reduced by 20 crores. The division which you are giving it, and the loss, technical loss, will adjust against the reserves and surplus. So the reserve will take a hit of 20 crore rupees. So when a demerger happens, it impacts the balance sheets because the consideration is given to the shareholders in form of shares. Company does not get anything. Company only gives their division out and then book the losses. So there was a company, they had a division. They had a division in abroad. So let's say in US I have a division which I want to demerge. So they given an application to NCLT that please demerge my this division which is based in US hypothetically, and so they wanted to transfer to overseas subsidiaries, wholly owned and indirect. That demerger they want to do that. Now, any idea will NCLT accept this division, this demerger, or reject this demerger? Any idea? So the company applied to NCLT that I want to demerge my specific undertakings to two overseas subsidiaries. So what do you think? Will NCLT will approve this? Yes, no, maybe?
I think no, because the lenders will get their claims diluted, comfort diluted.
So if it is an MCQ question, then your answer is right because the NCLT will not approve. Answer is right, but the logic is wrong. The logic is not because of the lenders. Assuming I give a confirmation to the lenders that I'll bear your everything, then what? So normally Companies Act permit your mergers or amalgamations with overseas entities. So if I have a subsidiary in Europe, I want to merge it, amalgamate it, that is all permitted. It is permitted. But the section in Companies Act do not mention of demerger. So in the section, the demerger word is not written. So the law do not allow a demerger of a undertaking to cross border. In a Indian context, it is permitted. But when it is a cross border transaction, only merger and amalgamation is written in the section that it is approved by NCLT. It is not written that demerger will be approved by NCLT for a cross border transaction. So that's why NCLT will reject this kind of transaction and not go ahead with it.
But the demerging company is registered in India, then that case the
That will be
NCLT will
allowed.
approve.
That
Yeah.
will allow because here it is a overseas cross-border company. That's why they did not allow. But if any demerged companies in India, like it happens many times. Like for recently, just example, I'll give example of ITC. They went into a demerger that they shifted one. Another companies, a lot of companies demerge, and it is in India, then it is permitted. So generally, in real life, generally when demerger happens, generally you will see that both companies, the demerged company and the resulting company, both have ideally mirror shareholding, exactly same shareholding patterns they have. Why is that generally they happen? Then there will be no loss to any of the company. Are you all getting me what I'm trying to communicate? If there is a company A which wants to demerge their division C to a new company XYZ Limited. So what they generally do, what is the shareholding of ABC Limited? Same set of shareholding they put for XYZ Limited. So this way both are becoming mirror shareholders. When both become mirror shareholders, then what happens? Technically, then it is not a loss to any of the party because shareholders are same, my value remains same. When my value remains same, whatever valuation you do, it is immaterial. So that generally happens practically when you do demerger. Then it is the easiest route to get NCLT approval. Because why NCLT will always look for that shareholder should not get impacted. If the shareholder is not getting impacted, they are fine with this. The moment shareholders' shares get impacted, they will be very critical in approving any demerger merger. So that's why they do that. And that's why the NCLT rejected the petition because of the demerger was not allowed for cross-border companies. That was one of the reasons. Now they need to relook that now because the government cross-border restructuring government cancelled. So they need to ensure that the compliance need to be relooked on Indian corporate norms, and they need to look for alternative restructuring strategies. Now they got two choices. They got a company called Indu Pharma Limited. They are doing in-house R&D since inception. They recently got patents over certain drugs, so they got intellectual property rights (IPR). They got a regulatory approved production plant also. But all these are in zero stage. No revenue yet, no customer contracts. They have not started booking any revenue. Theoretically, they have done what needs to be done. They are good to go tomorrow. So tomorrow, if they want to hit the market, they can hit the market tomorrow and sell it. Start selling the machine. That can be done. But as of today, they have nothing. So that is one product they have, one company option they have to acquire. Second, they have Biraj Life Sciences Limited, which incurred significant research cost for two new drugs. Drug 1 regulatory approval got recently. Drug 2 awaiting approval and accepted within 2 years. Now, revenue potential was a key acquisition driver because we have already got approval of regular drug 1. Now, the reason why they want to acquire is because they already have IPRs. And as I mentioned, in a pharma company, how do you get higher value? The more and more IPRs you have, you will get a value. The more and more formulas, patents you have, your valuation is much higher, and you have regulatory ready assets. So you just need to. It is called plug and play model. You have a license approved FDA plant, license approved molecule. You just need to start manufacturing and start selling it. This will help the Suraj Pharma for future product launches. It will ensure that R&D capabilities and diversifies pipeline, because the more and more different products you have, the more and more different valuation you'll get it. Now, what do you think we will call it when I start buying it? This company, Indu or Biraj, will it be a asset acquisition or business acquisition?
Business
What
acquisition.
in case of Indu, let's say take specific example of Indu Limited first. It has not yet sold any customer, any revenues. So will I call it a asset acquisition or a business acquisition? What do you think?
Business acquisition, because the potential is there. Already ready-made business is there.
Because the potential is there. Okay. Anybody has a contrary view, or you all with the view that it should be a business acquisition?
Yeah, it's a business acquisition, sir.
It's a business acquisition. Okay. Now the line between asset acquisition and business acquisition is very thin. We need to just understand whether the input output process is available or not. So if there is input output, no, Chitra, when we say asset means, think like this, Chitra. When we say asset acquisition means, let's say I am buying a company. Okay. So when I buy a asset, then it does not go into goodwill or capital reserve when we buy an asset. But the moment I buy a business, then whatever extra I paid will either go into goodwill, and if I paid less and get more, it will go into capital reserve. So the question is, shall I account as per Ind AS 103, that is business combination, or as a normal investment asset acquisition? Because in asset acquisition, you just take pieces of assets. So technically, this is considered as a business acquisition. Even if you have not generated any single revenue, even if there is no customer contract, but still it is a business acquisition, because there is a approval received. You have an IPR, you got approval, you are ready to go. Just because you have not sold anything does not mean it is not a business ready. It is a business. And similarly, whenever in practically, whenever, let's say, if I want to buy a company which has a 2G license or 3G license, they just only have license. They have not done anything. I remember a practical example which you have looked into very closely. Uh, uh, if you remember earlier in Mumbai, those who are from Mumbai, if anybody is from Mumbai, earlier from Bandra to Borivali, the electricity was given by Reliance Anil Ambani's company. The transmission right to collect electricity revenue was with Anil Ambani companies from Bandra to Borivali. That's what they had. Later on, this right was sold by uh, Anil Ambani company to Adani company. So Adani Power Transmission has purchased this right, which was earlier with Ambani's, now went to Adani. So from accounting perspective, the debate was, did they bought an asset, that is intangible right to collect the electricity, or they bought the business? What is your view? Yeah, please, Radhika, please. What is your view? Is it an uh, asset acquisition or just give a minute? Is it an asset acquisition or it's a business acquisition? What do you think? They just took the intangible rights. So is it a asset or business? So it's a business acquisition. Though it took a lot of debate between auditors and the client, and ultimately auditor was of the view that it should be a business, it is not an asset. Though it sounds as intangible, right? But ultimately you are running the entire business of collecting rentals, electricity comes from this license. So that's why we need to consider it's a business acquisition. And once it comes from a business acquisition, here in this case also it will be a business acquisition. Now, when it is a business acquisition, any idea what I will recognize in my books when I am buying this as a Suraj farmer? When I buy this company, what I will recognize in my books? Any quick idea?
The fair value of net assets, all the assets and liabilities against
Okay.
consideration paid and the balance to goodwill or capital reserve.
Shall I fair value the research and development, something which has been capitalized in research and development R&D, some
Yes,
intangible
if they
assets?
are if they are supposed to be beneficial to the company, then that will fair value and included.
So even if they have been put at cost in the Hindu Pharma balance sheet, when I am buying, I need to do a fair value. So I need to assess them and get the benefit out of it by proper valuation, and it should be done. Similarly, in case of Biraj Life Sciences, it has to be like a business acquisition again, because they have already approval. Recently, we got it approval. Second is pending. So this I can go into research cost. It will not be capitalized. It will be P&L. But this I got approval, so it should be capitalized. Let me go through. Now they have one subsidiary. I had one subsidiary called MKS. This MKS subsidiary is there, which is having outstanding trade receivable of 14 crores. Now let's say I sold to a foreign company. Okay. Within how many days, ideally, within how many days I should get my foreign exchange in India? Let's say I sold some products to abroad. Ideally, within how many days I should get in India? Ideally. Generally, within how many days I should get it? Generally. I made a, let's say, sales of any business, any product I sold outside India. So my
I,
asset, let's
I think
anyway.
within 6 months, I believe.
So within 9 months, RBI will allow flexibility that within 9 months gets money in India. So generally they assume that 6 months, the bankers push for 6 months, so that within 9 months you can at least get money in India. But if you don't get within 9 months, then you take an approval from authorized dealer. The authorized dealer are generally the banks. You take approval from the bank and tell to the bank that for some reason the buyer, the debtor is not able to pay. I need 6 months time. So up to 6 months time, they can give you extra on a specific request by you. But even after 6 months, you don't get it. Then they will go and complain to RBI, and then RBI will put action against you. Then RBI will tell either you write it off or you tell me what is the issue. That becomes a big issue. So that you need to keep in mind. And so here they had something which is not outstanding from long, which they have not received yet. Second, this subsidiary was not recorded in my books. And the reason why the management said not recorded was the management said we follow April to March financial year, and the UK follow calendar year January to December. So I cannot do a consolidation because of mismatch in numbers. What is your view? What do you think?
No, my view is that even that as per Ind AS 110, it's 3 months difference is allowed, but we have to consolidate this.
Okay.
Oth-
Okay. So as per standard, 3 months flexibility is given to us if the period is different. But you cannot ignore it that I will not consolidate because my period does not match. Either you get a number up to 31st March, you get a unaudited number and put into your consolidation and get a note for that. If you can't do that, at least take 3 months old and get it done. But just simply ignoring is not the right way at all. You have to take it. Now let's say what will happen. What is your view? So this they have done wrong. It needs to be put into that. So that's why the audit would have qualified it. What will happen? Let's say Suraj Pharma purchased a company on 1st October 2024 and sold the company on 7th October 2024. 7 days they sold it. Do I need to still make consolidate financials or not required?
For
Purchase in mid of
Yes,
the year.
date of yeah, on the date
sir,
of acquisition as per IFRS 3. Sorry, matlab IS 3 is India's 103.
No. My question is, as on 31st March 24 5 now, am I supposed to make consolidation? Yes, no, maybe. What do you think? I purchased this in the middle of the year, and 7 days I sold it. So my question is, as on 31st
Profit or
March
loss, yeah, consolidated profit or loss to will be there, obviously.
so I need to make it, even though I
sir,
sold in 7 days.
yeah. Even though there is a temporary, as per the Ind AS 110, it is we need to consolidate. But as per EAS accounting standard, this is not mandatory.
As a accounting, yes, it is not mandatory, but as per
Yeah.
Ind AS, it is mandatory. And according, because as per AS gives you a flexibility that since it is not their year end, 7 days you can ignore it, temporary. But AS says, Ind AS says the 7 days profit has to be consolidated, even though you have not continuing future, even in between year. So the standard is given to a declaration, even you bought it for 1 day. In a basis of conclusion, they have mentioned that even if you bought for 1 day, that profit and loss of 1 day has to be consolidated, even
Yes,
though
sir.
it is not work. So we need to
Yeah.
get it done.
Yeah. Only there are two situations. Only the consolidation is exemption is given, wherein the intermediate holding company,
Do not
the
objects.
yeah,
They
do not object, and other NCA also do not accept. Then that case, when there is a ultimate parent company is preparing the CFS, then it's
then you
no
don't have
case.
to do it.
And
Then you
also
don't.
in the investment company,
It's an investment company not required to do it. When it is
yeah,
FETPL,
yeah,
yeah, when you're booking it through FETPL, then it is not needed. For
yeah,
investment
only
company,
these are the two cases they are given the exemption.
absolutely right. Only these two cases will be able to save this. Okay. So the management identified non-compliance with FEMA as a non-compliance is within 9 months you should get your money back. If not, you need to intimate the AD. And so they have taken a consultant. Management accepts no penalty but acknowledges. And if penalty do rise, it is a material impact on Suraj Pharma. So what do you think? Should we ignore it or it should show in contingent liability?
Obviously, we should show in contingent liability.
So it has to be shown even though there is no penalty came in, nobody has noticed it, but you need to contain liability. And always better to take a regulatory expert opinion because only the regulator expert who understands FEMA well can give a guidance. What because there are government allows a lot of education. You make an error, go to the government and say I made a mistake. The government will put some penalty in, put you clean free. So this point we discussed, the consolidations were not done in Suraj Pharma because of the reason they have say mismatch in the year end between parent and subsidiary, but they forgot that standard allows you 3 months leeway. So you just cannot ignore this. And disclosure and consolidation is mandatory. Without this, your books are not right. Because once you are into Ind AS, you have no choice. Mandatory, you need to get it done. And when FEMA mistakes happens, FEMA non-compliance can be very expensive. And you need to consider that if you skip this time, future need to consolidate. And whatever intercompany balances you need to get in time, especially see if the outsider party do not give me, it is still fine. Let's say a non-related party doing a bad debt acceptable. Can a related party doing a bad debt acceptable? Can you say my
No, because
subsidiary is not?
no.
It cannot. It does not even make sense. That's why you need to keep in mind when you're doing, you need to get it done thoroughly.
Yes, sir. The intercompany balances should match with the cross reference that all the balance sheets should match the exact position.
Correct, correct. Now, the point which I have taken, the question we have taken earlier was why you think the Companies Act demerger scheme was disapproved. So we'll come to the section why it was disapproved. I'll take to the section. Research and development should be capitalized or not. The company which we are taking on, Biraj Pharma. So in Biraj Pharma, as we mentioned, there were two research and development. Two R&D was going on. One was approved and one was yet to get approval. It will take 2 years to approve. So should we recognize as an asset? That should not be recognized as an asset because approval is not there. It is not yet classified as a development. Now, whatever little we understand by patent, what do you think could be the best answer to this? That given Suraj Pharma's strategic positioning and recent developments, which statements describe the role of patent protection in gaining and maintaining competitive advantage? What do you think? Out of 4 options, which one you think makes sense to you?
B.
Sir, I feel it's a B is most appropriate,
B.
sir.
The most appropriate answer is option B, where you allow them to capture benefits for all investments they have done. Patent will not allow for cost reduction. Do you think the cost can be reduced by production cost can be reduced by patent? Production cost cannot be reduced by patent because that's a different labor and other thing materials are different. It will allow me
Yeah.
to capture the benefits whatever I can in a long run till the time my patent production is there. So if I got a government grant and the government grant is for 2 years and the condition is I should reduce the cost by 40%, and which is there is a reasonable surety that I'll be able to meet this protection conditions, then what do you think I should do that?
Again B.
Sir,
So,
B.
yeah, B, we need to recognize that amount as a deferred income and we recognize a P&L over a period of 2 years.
Or shall I not recognize till at the end of 2 year when it actually I meet the conditions, or I can do today when there is a reasonable certainty?
Because there is a reasonable assurance.
Okay.
Yeah, when there is a reasonable assurance to meet the condition of it.
When there's a reasonable assurance, then we can recognize in 2 years period. That is fine. So normally, generally, grants are given 2 types. One is of revenue-based grant, which is like this, and one is on asset-based grant, capital grants, where they give you a asset and something like that. And then if you get an asset, then you again adjust it over to what is the period of asset, and depending on terms and conditions, either you adjust in the cost or in the depreciation, how you do that. This we discuss. Can we consider a business for acquisition accounting?
C. Yes.
Yes, sir. Answer C, sir. Yes.
Because the company has the knowledge, they
Yes,
has
sir.
the workforce, and as I mentioned in a pharma, the most important thing in the pharma is your IPRs. If you have the IPRs ready, then you can always do that. Even though you have not started, if you don't have a customer contract. Now, just to touch base on customer contracts, let's say I am a company, I have a regular customers, but I don't have a contract with them. So one customer contract means I will sell you for next 5 years. That's a customer contract with me. So I don't have any such thing with the customers. But I have 100 customers who take regularly from me year on year. Every year they come to me and take me. Now, when are you buying me? Will you record this as your asset in somewhere? Yes, no, maybe. What do you think? What is your view?
Sir, please repeat the question.
So my question is, there is one thing is called customer contracts, where customer would say that, okay, let's say I am a car repairing company or a service showroom. So customers say, I purchased this car from Tata Honda, so I'll come for next 3 years with you. So that's a contract Tata is given you for the next 3 years. Whatever car is sold from our company, we will get it repaired from your garage. So this is a customer contract I have. Another thing is customer, where I don't have a contract with any customer, but I have 100 customers who come every year to my office shop and get their services done from me. When you are acquiring me, will you consider those kind of customers as, will you consider them as an asset in your balance sheet, where I don't have a contract with them, but every year they will come and get business done from me? Yes, no, maybe.
The customer contract, I think, cannot be
No, sir, we will not
treated
recognize in the
as
in the books of account.
Then there is a new term called
because
customer.
they
The new term which is coined is known as customer relationship. So this customer relationship is also need to be recorded in your PPA, in your assets. Even though there is no signed contract with those customers, but based on the past history, just like we discussed the point, reasonable assurance that we will be able to meet the conditions and economic benefit will flow to the company. It's a reasonable surety that you will comply with the conditions. Similarly, when so these are customer relationships when you even have not signed the agreement, but still you are a regular customer. So that's why if you see Infosys balance sheet 2021, 22, whenever they do PPA, they recognize in their intangibles customer relationship separate from customer contract. Customer contract is separate and customer relationship is separate. So this is also counted based on certain methodology of valuations.
So can you repeat this PPA full form?
Purchase price
Sir,
allocation.
sir, is that
Purchase
relating to that intangible asset capitalization?
intangible assets. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
But just to clarify, suppose intangible asset, these are
So I think I lost you. I don't know it's a problem at my end or your internet end. I'm not sure, but I'm not able to hear you.
I think his internet is not stable.
Stable, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So we are not able to hear you. If you can put on chat, I'll be happy to respond on chat. If your voice is not, internet is not supporting you.
actually there was a doubt. Suppose this customer relationship is like self-generated, so the cost can add what in the
Okay.
confusion is that
So
how it
so
is to be
if you're if you're
captured in the balance.
so if your query is only on that customer relationship, so just let me finish this and then I'll come back to this point. I got your point. It's a very valid question that how to put a price to it, how to put a cost to it. Okay, that I'll do that. I'll explain that. It is similarly like to customer contract, same on the way customer contract, but I'll show you that. Just give me a minute. Okay. Now, what do you think would be the best answer to this question?
Sir, answer B, sir. Auditor handled this matter appropriately.
Okay, just a second. I'll do that. So if there is a requirement, you need to mention the note. If you have not put something, if you missed non-compliance, if the money has not come in the due period, you need to inform to the regulator. You cannot skip silent on that. This I'm sure also you all have discussed this. You'll be able to get this right also. I just try to see that one intangible. Just give me in the meantime. Just give me a minute. Just give me a minute. I think the answer to this would be, what do you think would be the auditor's responsibility for non-consolidation of financial statements?
Sir, answer A, sir.
A, sir. Suraj Pharma needs to prepare consolidated financial statements by also consolidating MKS.
And if you do not do it, you need to always qualify. See, as an auditor, you cannot force a management to do, not to do. You can just ask them to do that. If the management is adamant, I don't want to do that, then you need to qualify that. In fact, one of the listed companies in India, when India's came, there is a rule that on oil and drilling, you need to follow certain standards. The company had a different view. Company said we will not going to do that, so they ignored that. They say we will not do that. So the auditor had to qualify that okay, the standard says like this, but the management do not feel they should be done, so they have not done that. So as an auditor, you only have these audit reports to put your viewpoint. Client may agree, client may not agree. The best way is to always try to reconcile the client. But if the client is adamant, then you take your own call. No need to break your head with the client. If it's not showing, it's not showing. Now let me just take you to the intangibles. Just a minute. I'll explain on that intangible part. So how does generally it happens? I explain you just a second. So this is just to give extract of Infosys annual report 2020. Similar, if you go to 21, 22, 23, wherever they do acquisitions, you will find the situation like the same. So what is happening here? If you see that, if you just a second. So what they do is say, take an example. They acquired an asset of 1400 crores. So they acquired the assets of 1400 crores. And when they acquired it of 1400 crores, so in an IT company, normally what do you find? Will the value of laptop assets would be more or less? What is the asset in IT company? All leased out, right? Does IT company acquires or they go on rental premises generally? Rental premises. All
Rental, sir.
leased. Rentals. They don't invest in capex. So the only asset, so see the beauty. Out of 1400 crores, only the net assets was 22 crores. That is only laptops and servers and basic accessories required. Now see, then what they put customer contracts and relationships 152. So when we do a purchase price allocation, they add assets. So they added 152 crores in their value. Now here it is customer contract and relationship. But now see the next asset, Salesforce relationship. Just because you have a relationship with a vendor, that relationship is also added as a value because you will be able to make money on basis of those relationships. And then you added a brand here. The brand is added. So that's where you do a customer contracting, you do this. Similarly, the another acquisition they did in one Belgium company, acquisition was done of 1200 crores. Here 541 crores was the asset. Customer contract and relationship was also relevant. So what happens in any IT company, even if I don't sign a mandate that I will do every year with you, but but uh, but because I'm coming last so many years to you, you have my data, I come to you, that has a value, that has a vintage. So that vintage you need to get a done. Let's say take for example, just to give a quick example on this. Let's say when you join a college, okay, when you join a college, is it expected that you will study 3 years there, first, second, third year? Generally, when you join a college, right? If I'm studying first year, I'll also study second year and third year. So, but what if I do not go study in second year, third year there? I may go, I may not go. It's choice of me, right? So, but still, when I'm acquiring a college, I will recognize those as students as my customer relationship, because you may continue, you may not continue, but still there is a possibility you may continue. So that need to be factored in when we are doing this. Now let me just take on the Word document and case studies to take the last part. See, now the point which you are discussing on.
Sir, I'm still, see, I am not yet studied by me that intangible asset still,
Fine.
but still I have the logic behind why we are organizing the customer relationship and the market, all these things. Still, I'm not yet clarified on
Okay,
that, sir. Please explain.
I'll come back to the first point first. Imagine customer contract. Imagine customer contract. Don't go to relationship part. Go to customer contract. I signed a customer. There is a customer who says, for next 3 years, every year I'll come and purchase 1 lakh rupees asset with you. Every year. This is the customer contract we sign. Only contract, right? If you do not come and purchase from me, can I do anything? Yes, no, maybe.
Yeah, there will be a foreclose that contract violation, that penalty will be there.
Okay. Okay. But this he will come every year. Okay. But to get this, did I incur any cost, or it is self-generated? Is there any cost incurred to get this contract, or it is he came to me that I want to buy some item from you for 3 years? He signed a mandate. I gave him a reasonable price for that, right? So there is no cost for that. So, but this is a contract. I have a right that he will come and take from me and all blah blah. But now, when there is a customer relationship where I don't have a contract, but I know every year he comes to me, continues consistently from last 5 years, and he take this product from me. So let's say take example. Take an example. I am a MRF tire sellers. Okay, I sell MRF tires. You purchased a car from Hyundai, whatever brand you have, and that car gives you MRF tires. So I have not sold to you, but you purchased from them. But now, after 2 years, when your tires get used on, you will come back to buy MRF tires only, assuming you want to maintain the quality and consistency. So
Yes,
now,
sir.
can I make assumption that based on how many cars Hyundai has sold, how much sale I will have in future? Can I make an assumption, base assumption, if I want to make a base assumption, if I want to value a business? If somebody want to buy my tire manufacturing business, can he make an assessment that okay, this year 1 million cars sold, so that means next year at least 4 million tires will be at least sold in 2 years? That's the assumption I can make, right? Assumption. Now, customer contracts or customer relationships are why they're taken value, because when I'm paying something extra, when I'm paying something for a business to a business, there could be some drivers for buying that business. And one of the drivers for buying a business is that it already has a running customer pipeline. So we value that pipeline only because it is intangible and because it is giving value and it is separated. That's why we give it a value. That's why intangibles, when we go to the intangible sections of Ind AS 38, and you go to IBS, International Valuation Standards, they say that our Ind AS 103 mentions, try to give those assets as a value which are not in the balance sheet. So this customer contract will never come in the balance sheet. Customer relationship will never come in the balance sheet. But because they add some value in terms of commercial sense. So when they're adding some value in commercial sense, ideally it should be given a value. And that is the reason why you will find in all PPAs, customer relationships are mentioned generally. Okay, if you can demonstrate. But let's say I am into a very retail shopkeeper, then there cannot be customer relationship in terms of value. People may come, people may go. But where I am having a uh, unique product seller, then I can show a customer relationship. I manufacture certain amounts that only I can sell. Then in that scenario, you can show it as a customer relationship. And again, it is very subjective, because I'll come to the subjective part. Is this customer relationship remain forever, or they will die down in certain period? Will customer remain forever with me, or it will die down certain time? He will leave me in some
Yeah,
time.
yeah, it will be in some time only because no, if the example if the car is sold, the car life is 10 years, then definitely the 10 after 10 years there is no possibility of getting the tire repaired.
So we do attrition rate. So when we do a valuation, we assume that okay, this customer first year will remain 80% with me, second year it will remain 60% with me. So that's why we make an assumption, and in certain time, entire asset goes write off because of assumption. So this is where I'm talking from valuation perspective only, not from accounting perspective. From a valuation perspective, it becomes very judgmental to assume, because we are just thinking in future. There is no surety. It may happen, it may continue for 5 years, it may not continue for 1 year. That is risk they have. So that's what they need to take very judgmental assumptions to ensure how do we take that.
Sir, is there any like guidance by Indians on like how to amortize these kind of asset that has been included in
No.
case of?
So because unfortunately or fortunately, Indies are principle based standards. They're not rule based. They're principle. So they say the management should assess the useful life. If they think that useful life is X years, amortize on that. So, if, for example, brand. So they say brand does not have any useful life, because brand can continue forever. So you can keep brand forever, or you can take a call that if I don't advertise, my brand will die in 5 years. So you take 5 years as useful life. So it is your call. So India always gives you a rational call. You document your call that I think my life of asset would be 5 years, 7 years, 10 years. Based on that, you can down. The standard will not give you any number. They will not quantify it. They will give you a qualitative aspect to do that. But quantification part, they will never give to you. Coming back to the point, the point we discussed of why they rejected his demerger application, because Section 234, which is related to cross borders mergers and amalgamation, it do not mention the word demerger. It was a crucial omission in drafting. So there's a drafting issue. When you draft the rules and somebody would have missed, again, it's a human error. But in the rules itself, the word demerger is not there. So when the word demerger is not there, the regulator will not take a chance. Because cross border, whenever something happens, it needs to be permitted by law. And NCLT will only do what is permitted in the law. So that point we discussed, that was not there. Drug part, we discussed that why it should be reduced, the drug part, pricing. There's a concept called, in a marketing, there is a concept called penetration pricing. What is the penetration pricing? Penetration pricing is, sorry?
Charging lower prices at the start to capture the market.
Any example you can give me, which you can recall someone would have done this scheme?
Geo.
Think of Geo. I'm sure everybody will know Geo. When it started, it gave free. When it started to give very low price, everybody acquired it. The kind of price they gave it when they were taking initially subscription of Geo, the internets and all. And once you get inside, once everybody start used to it, then you start charging price. Take example of Paytms and all. Initially, when they were started, were they charging any convenience fees, or like Zomato, Swiggy? Were they charging any fees from you for giving delivery services and all, or it was all free initially? Were they charging platform fee from you?
No, earlier.
All were free. So that is penetration pricing. Can this work in pharma company? It does not work in pharma company. You cannot start low and sell high. That cannot work. In pharma company, we go with skimming prices. Skimming pricing means once you charge high and then lower the price. Because in pharma company, you have the luxury of having a brand, having the patent. So in a patent, you can charge any price. After your patent gets over, you can go for a lower price. So this is broadly on pharma industry and some MCQs which we have gone through. Any quick question you have? Else, Deepak sir will take anything on IBS paper, IBS queries, any specific Deepak sir can take. And again, as you see the case study, whenever you get an exam, spend first 15-20 minutes to read case study and note down the points. Like this case study, what we have gone through, when I had read into it, I need to jot it down because case study will look lengthy. But if you don't start making short notes, it will not be able to address it properly. So any case study, you need to always connect the dot, think from various angles, think from as a consultant, all angles, which all laws will impact that need to impact. And if you have a knowledge of all laws, like you know Indes well, you know income tax, you know GST, you know FEMA, then everything can be covered easily. Then it should become a cakewalk for you. And as everything is possible, you need to open your mindset and horizon, broaden your horizon. So with this, I thank you all for your patient hearing and active participation. With this, Deepak sir, I hand over to you.
Sir, thank you for your clear, insightful, and practice-driven explanation of today's case study on pharmaceutical sector. Through your expert guidance, we were able to appreciate the strategic and regulatory complexities that define this industry. From R&D collaboration with universities to pricing during patent protection and navigating the transition to generic competition, your application of standards such as IND-AS 38 in IND-AS 20 and the Rule 30 of the CGST rules offered a comprehensive view of how interdisciplinary things or how interdisciplinary approach is essential in solving real world business challenges in highly regulated sectors like pharma. You have shown how to apply our knowledge across domains, financial reporting, auditing, taxation, as well as in strategic cost management area to arrive at integrated solution that are commercially viable and compliant with law. Your session captured the core purpose of IBS paper, developing the ability to think holistically, advise strategically, and act professionally in complex and high stake environments. Thank you once again, sir, for taking the time during a busy season to enrich us with your deep insights and practical experience. We sincerely grateful for your contribution. Students, please go ahead and raise your queries.
Sir, firstly, thank you so much for that wonderful discussion had today by the sir. He given the lot of insight relating to the pharma industries, how the patent is there, how getting licenses, and giving overall picture about it. See, I'm first time hearing all this story. It's very well narrated, and I gained lot of from this lesson. Thank you so much.
Welcome, student. Now, there is one query in my chat box, how to handle MCQs in IBS paper. Okay, students, please listen carefully. IBS is not just a paper. Okay, it's a business simulation. Every MCQ is part of a large story. You will play the role of a decision maker like CFO, CEO, strategic head, COO. Okay, your job is to read the situation, think critically, and choose the most logical, ethical, profitable course of action. Now, how to master in MCQs? Okay, first of all, understand the case before the questions. Okay, first understand the case before the questions. Don't rush the MCQs right away. First read the case background, case story. Okay, try to answer what is the business model, what is the company's goal, what are the risks, conflicts, or what are standards applicable. this recent case study was based on pharma. Okay, pharma, as name suggests, it means there is high possibility of applicability of Ind AS 20 and Ind AS 38. Okay, now highlight key numbers, decisions, and issues. Treat each MCQ as a business decision or a separate decision. Each MCQ is not just theory, it is asking you to solve a problem. Identify the role you are playing. You may be finance head, or you may be compliance officer, you may be legal officer, you may be strategic advisor. Okay, think, what would I do if I were in that seat? Now, it is very important to use elimination technique. It is very important to use elimination technique. Many MCQs have two clear wrong choices. Okay, many MCQs may have two clear wrong choices. Strike them out in first go. Then compare the remaining two with applicable laws, concepts, standards. Okay, now if the company has cash flow issues, would you advise a debt heavy expansion? Probably not. In this manner, you can easily eliminate. Okay, now bring your multidisciplinary knowledge here. IBS is not one subject, it is combination of your various subjects. Okay, so revise concepts carefully. You must have basic understanding of all concepts. Okay, revise strategic models from set B. This is a multidisciplinary case study paper with strategic management. Therefore, strategic models are very relevant here, like Porter's 5 forces, Altman's Z score, supply chain management, value chain, etc. Okay, now it is very important to manage your time. Okay, you have 20 MCQs to reply. Okay, standard time for solving a MCQ is around 4 to 5 minutes. Okay, it means you have around 90 minutes to solve the MCQ section. Therefore, it is very important to consider the time. Okay, I am repeating again, you have total 90 minutes. 90 minutes average time to solve 20 MCQs. This is standard time. It may be around 100 minutes or 110 minutes, sometime it may be 80 minutes, but it is 90 minutes are standard time. Therefore, utilize remaining time for answering descriptive questions. Okay, don't stuck on tough MCQs. Mark doubtful MCQs for review. Finish the rest and come back. Again, mark the doubtful MCQs for review and come back again after finishing rest portion. Mock exams are must. Do at least 4 mock test paper. Okay. In examination situation, practice reading quickly, identify relevant information, concepts, and try to solve MCQ under pressure. I am saying standard time to solve a MCQ is 4.5 minutes. Then try to solve the MCQ in 3 minutes or 2 minutes. Take pressure, assume pressure to handle the examination situation in advance. Don't just memorize, understand the why. Again, I am saying conceptual clarity is very, very important. MCQ may test your reasoning, but it is not for testing your memory. And you can have good control on solving MCQs if you have good conceptual understanding. For example, they may ask which strategy is most suitable in the given scenario. Okay, as sir told, skimming pricing strategy or market penetration strategy, this question may be easily converted into MCQ and may come in your examination. Therefore, study descriptive questions are also very carefully. MCQs may also be drafted from there. Okay. Now, maintain an MCQ error log. Every time you make a mistake in mock, write down. What was question? Why was your answer wrong? What is the correct logic behind that? Okay. Mentally stay in boardroom mode. Okay. Don't approach this like a simple theoretical paper. Again, assume you are in consultant's role. Its name is Integrated Business Solutions. Now, final suggestion. The goal is not to know the most, but to apply what you know with the right perspective. So be clear-headed, trust your preparation, and remember, you are solving business problems, not just answering questions. Okay? Students, please ask your queries.
Sir,
Yes.
my query is that sometimes in descriptive questions, if we don't remember the section number or provisions, but we know the provision and we write it in correct manner,
Yes.
then is it correct or we should skip that?
Actually, this is open book examination. Therefore, it is always better to quote a specific section or specific business models or standards.
Okay, and if we not, then
It is always better to give or quote sections.
okay.
It will
And
give you additional advantage if you are quoting the same.
one more
Don't
query is
ignore.
that if in a there is a question out of in a whole paper, we only do the MCQ in one question, and due to the time management we left over the descriptive questions. Rest we completed in one question, we do the MCQs, and the descriptive questions are left. Then the marks is given or not?
It means
Suppose there are 5 questions, we finish the 4 questions, and
okay.
we left with one, and in one question we do the only MCQs, and the time not allowed us to finish the paper. Then we get the number of MCQs or not of that question?
It's regarding your fifth question.
Yes sir, fifth or fourth, any question.
Say, I will answer. See, actually, what is happening? The MCQ booklet is given separately. For MCQ, is a separate answer paper. the main, and for descriptive is a separate.
Okay. Both.
I hope.
Yes, yes, please.
Yeah, yeah. I think she is asking in that way, or say actually the MCQ. If the 40 question is there, 20 question, the 20 question you will be there in the MCQ booklet, the answer paper on the first page itself. We have to mark it. That's it. Over.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Now I understand what is the, because I'm first time I'm appearing in the exam, so I don't know how to what type of paper it comes. मतलब how what type of question paper is it?
Yeah, I appeared last attempt. That's what I am able to explain to you. Even I had the same impression last time.
बिकॉज सर क्या होता है कि जब हम क्वेश्चन पेपर रीड कर रहे हैं और उसके अंदर हम क्वेश्चंस कर रहे हैं, अगर सपोज पहले मतलब कुछ एग्जाम्स में ऐसा मैंने ऑब्जर्व किया जब मैंने दिए थे कि एमसीक्यूज होते हैं, साथ में नीचे डिस्क्रिप्टिव होते हैं। अगर आपने एमसीक्यूज का आंसर किया और आपने डिस्क्रिप्टिव का नहीं किया तो उसके अंदर क्या होता था, आपका नेगेटिव मार्किंग हो गई है या वो सेट ऑफ होकर निल हो जाता था। तो सीए के एग्जाम में ऐसा तो नहीं होता है कि अगर हमने डिस्क्रिप्टिव सपोज हमारे से रह गया, टाइम नहीं है हमारे पास में, और हमने क्वांटिटेटिव जो एमसीक्यू क्वेश्चंस थे वो कर दिए, तो उसकी मार्किंग तो हमारी फुल होगी।
देखिए, इसके लिए क्या है कि आप सबसे पहले एग्जामिनेशन की गाइडलाइंस जरूर देखिएगा। अगर आपको 4 क्वेश्चंस अटेम्प्ट करने हैं और अगर आपने 4 अटेम्प्ट करे हैं और वो भी पार्शियली अटेम्प्ट किए हैं, जितना आपने अटेम्प्ट किया है वो पोर्शन तो आपका इवेल्युएट होएगा ही होएगा। ठीक है।
ओके ओके ओके।
उसमें कोई इशू नहीं है, वो इवेल्युएट होएगा ही होगा। लेकिन इशू वहां हो जाता है जहां पे आपने 5 अटेम्प्ट किए हैं और वो भी पार्शियली कर दिए। तो इसलिए जो एग्जामिनेशन डिपार्टमेंट की गाइडलाइंस है उसके लिए वो प्लीज उसको फॉलो कीजिएगा।
ओके ओके सर।
हम्म स्टूडेंट्स, एनी अदर क्वेरी? देखिए, इस पेपर के लिए मैं फिर से आप सभी को यही कह रहा हूं कि बिल्कुल भी परेशान नहीं होना और बेसिक कॉन्सेप्चुअल अंडरस्टैंडिंग होना बहुत ज्यादा जरूरी है। अच्छा, मैं यही क्यों कह रहा हूं कि बेसिक कॉन्सेप्चुअल अंडरस्टैंडिंग होना क्यों जरूरी है? मैं हर सेशन के अंदर ये एग्जांपल लेता हूं। अगेन मैं फिर से यही रिपीट कर रहा हूं, वो इसलिए आपको जरूरी है क्योंकि ये ओपन बुक एग्जाम है। अगर सपोज आपने कॉन्सेप्ट को एक बार रीड किया हुआ है तो एग्जाम के अंदर क्या होगा, आप उस कॉन्सेप्ट को काफी इजीली अप्लाई कर सकते हैं। ठीक है। अगर आपने कॉन्सेप्ट को रीड किया हुआ है तो आप उस कॉन्सेप्ट को काफी इजी तरीके से अप्लाई कर सकते हैं। आप इजी तरीके से कैसे अप्लाई करेंगे कि अब जब हमने कोई कॉन्सेप्ट पढ़ी है तो वो हमारे माइंड के अंदर सेट हो जाती है। तो जब हमने वो पढ़ी है उससे सिमिलर कोई आपका एग्जाम में कोई एमसीक्यू आता है, कोई डिस्क्रिप्टिव क्वेश्चन आता है, तो आप डायरेक्टली उस पेज को ओपन कर सकते हैं एग्जाम में। ठीक है। और एग्जाम में ओपन करके कि जैसे कि किसी पर्टिकुलर जैसे सेक्शन के अंदर लिमिट लिखा है कि 5 इयर्स, 7 इयर्स, 10 इयर्स। सपोज आपने पहले पढ़ा हुआ है तो आप एग्जामिनेशन कंडीशन के अंदर उस पेज पे जा सकते हैं और वेरीफाई कर सकते हैं कि यहाँ पे 5 लिखना है, 7 लिखना है, 10 लिखना है, दो दो ऑप्शन एलिमिनेट करने हैं, मोस्ट लाइकली हो रहा है, तो आप चेक कर सकते हैं वहां पे। लेकिन अगर आपने पढ़ा हुआ ही नहीं है तो कॉन्सेप्ट पहले तो पेज स्क्रॉल करके ढूंढोगे, ढूंढने के बाद उसको अप्लाई करोगे, अप्लाई गलत कर दिया तो भी फंसोगे, और अगर अप्लाई सही कर लिया तो आपका तब तक दूसरे क्वेश्चन का टाइम किल हो चुका होगा। तो इसलिए इसलिए आपको एटलीस्ट बेसिक कॉन्सेप्चुअल अंडरस्टैंडिंग होना बहुत ज्यादा जरूरी है इस पेपर के लिए। अगर बेसिक कॉन्सेप्चुअल अंडरस्टैंडिंग है तो आप जरूर 100% इस पेपर को क्लियर करोगे, और वो भी 60+ मार्क्स के साथ। स्टूडेंट्स, प्लीज गो ahead एंड रेज योर क्वेरीज। And one important thing, one thing is certain. Okay, the Companies Act will apply to almost all companies. Okay, discussed in the case studies. Whether it's a multiple choice question or descriptive, you are very likely to encounter questions from this area. In today's context, where corporate failure are increasingly or reported on regular basis, corporate governance is highly relevant. Okay, questions based on topics are generally simple and can be connected easily with your open book resources. ओके, कॉर्पोरेट गवर्नेंस बहुत बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है और कॉर्पोरेट गवर्नेंस से क्वेश्चन इजीली कनेक्ट हो जाता है किसी भी केस स्टडी के साथ. तो इसलिए प्लीज डोंट इग्नोर कॉर्पोरेट गवर्नेंस पोर्शन फ्रॉम लॉज पर्सपेक्टिव. बट इफ द कंपनी इज लिस्टेड देन it is sure you may get question from SEBI LODR portion. Okay, overall you can expect around 15 to 20 marks questions from this area from set A. Therefore please don't ignore this area. ठीक है?
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
सर
हाँ जी.
जो
Yes.
हमारे पास इसके मॉड्यूल्स हैं मेरे पास, जैसे कि ए और बी मेरे पास एप्लीकेबल है सेट इसके अंदर, तो उसके अंदर जो मार्किंग की स्कीम होती है जैसे बाकी के सब्जेक्ट्स में होती है, तो इसमें क्या है वो स्कीम का फॉर्मेशन, मतलब मार्किंग स्कीम्स जैसे बताते हैं कि इस पार्ट्स के इस पर्टिकुलर चैप्टर में इसकी वेटेज जितनी है.
IBS के अंदर कह रहे हैं आप?
हाँ जी, हाँ जी.
देखिए IBS का जो पेपर है वो बेसिकली आपने सिलेबस देखा होगा उसके अंदर क्या है कि आपके कोर पेपर्स हैं सारे और साथ
हाँ
में
जी.
सेट ए और बी है. ठीक
हाँ
है,
जी, हाँ जी.
यहाँ पे कोई वेटेज स्पेसिफाइड नहीं है, लेकिन अगर आप पास्ट ट्रेंड को देखेंगे एग्जामिनेशन का तो उसके बेस पे अगर आप देखेंगे तो अराउंड 15 मार्क्स का जो पेपर है, 15 या 20 मार्क्स का जो पेपर है वो लो पोर्शन से आ रहा है. ठीक है, उस ट्रेंड को आप एनालिसिस कर सकते हैं कि उससे आपको आइडिया हो जाएगा कि कितने मार्क्स का एग्जाम में पेपर पूछा जा रहा है, लेकिन कोई ऐसी वेटेज जो है वो स्पेसिफाइड नहीं है.
ओके सर. क्योंकि सर प्रॉब्लम ये है कि हम डीटी और आईडीटी तो हम बहुत अच्छे से फिर भी प्रिपेयर कर लेते हैं. अब बात आती है आईबीएस की. आईबीएस में हम बहुत कंफ्यूज रहते हैं कि इसको कैसे प्रिपेयर करें, कैसे इसके लिए हम लोग अपीयर हों.
देखिए आप IBS का पेपर देने जा रहे हैं ना, तो आप ये नहीं सोचिएगा कि आप खाली DT IDT पढ़ के जा रहे हैं और IBS का पेपर क्लियर कर लेंगे. ये तो बिल्कुल भी नहीं होगा. तो इसलिए आप क्या कीजिए, मैं इस सिचुएशन में हमेशा स्टूडेंट को एक स्ट्रेटेजी बताता हूं, वो ये कि आप एक या दो पेपर को ग्रुप 1 से जरूर आइडेंटिफाई कीजिएगा, क्योंकि हर एक किसी का कोई ना कोई एक पेपर ऐसा होता है कि जिसके ऊपर काफी अच्छा कंट्रोल होता है. सपोज अगर मैंने FR सेलेक्ट किया तो FR का मेरे को क्या फायदा होगा कि वो जब अभी तो आपको काम आएगा ही आएगा वो पेपर, लेकिन आपको आगे जो CA की प्रोफेशनल लाइफ होगी उसमें भी वो आपको काम आएगा. ठीक है, उसके बिना तो आप वर्क कर ही नहीं सकते. इसी तरीके से आप AFM ले सकते हो या ऑडिटिंग ले सकते हो, लेकिन उसको काफी डिटेल में पढ़ो सब्जेक्ट को. आप ये मत सोचो कि खाली DT IDT 2 पेपर पढ़ के क्लियर होगा. आप सोचो कि कम से कम आपके सेकंड ग्रुप के अंदर भी 3 पेपर हैं. ठीक है, IBS का पेपर तो दूसरे पेपर का कॉम्बिनेशन है, तो एटलीस्ट उसके बैकअप के लिए एक पेपर की काफी अच्छी अंडरस्टैंडिंग होनी चाहिए. लेकिन इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि आपने जो अदर पेपर हैं उनको इग्नोर कर दिया. उनकी भी बेसिक कॉन्सेप्चुअल अंडरस्टैंडिंग होनी चाहिए. जैसे कि मैंने अभी आपको बताया थोड़ी देर पहले कि अगर आपको क्वेश्चंस की बेसिक कॉन्सेप्चुअल अंडरस्टैंडिंग नहीं है, ठीक है, अगर मैंने सपोज अभी कहा कि आप FR को काफी अच्छे से कर लो, एक आपने क्या किया, DT कर लिया, IDT कर लिया और FR कर लिया और बाकी छोड़ दिया. नहीं, बाकी नहीं छोड़ना, बाकी की कम से कम एक रीडिंग जरूर करो, ताकि कोई जो कॉन्सेप्ट अगर पेपर में आती है तो आप उसको इजीली अप्लाई कर सको. ठीक है ना? तो कहने का मतलब ये हो गया कि कम से कम 3 या 4 सब्जेक्ट आपका 3 या 4 सब्जेक्ट के ऊपर काफी स्ट्रॉन्ग कंट्रोल होना चाहिए, और साथ में जो अदर सब्जेक्ट है उनकी बेसिक कॉन्सेप्चुअल अंडरस्टैंडिंग होनी चाहिए. जैसे लास्ट टू लास्ट एग्जाम के अंदर फेमा का क्वेश्चन आया था. फेमा का जो क्वेश्चन था उसमें क्या था कि जो लोन लिया था हमने, हमारी कंपनी ने लोन लिया था, तो उस लोन को पे ऑफ करने के लिए हमने एक्सटर्नल कॉमर्शियल बोरोइंग्स के थ्रू लोन लिया था, ECB के थ्रू लोन लिया. तो अब उसके अंदर उसने एग्जाम में MCQ पूछा गया 4 कंडीशन देके कि कौन सी जो कंडीशन है इसके अंदर से कौन सी मतलब ओके है, इसमें कौन सी करेक्ट है. ठीक है, अब जब वो चीज पड़ी हुई होगी तभी आप अप्लाई कर पाओगे, अदरवाइज तो नहीं कर सकते. तो इसलिए कम से कम आपको पता हो कि इस पेज पर ये सेक्शन है ताकि आप अप्लाई कर सको, और वो तभी होगा जब आपने उसकी एटलीस्ट 1 या 2 बार रीडिंग करी होगी। ठीक है, इसी तरीके से मैंने बताया कि लॉ के अंदर कॉर्पोरेट गवर्नेंस का पोर्शन है, आप उसको छोड़ ही नहीं सकते, वो तो आपको पढ़ना ही पड़ेगा। इसी तरीके से सेटबी में जो स्ट्रेटेजिक मॉडल्स हैं, जैसे सप्लाई चेन मैनेजमेंट हो गया, वैल्यू चेन हो गया, पोर्टर 5 फोर्सेस होगा, ये आपको पढ़ना ही पड़ेगा, आप इसको इग्नोर बिल्कुल भी नहीं कर सकते हैं। क्यों? क्योंकि कोई भी क्वेश्चन इजीली कनेक्ट हो सकता है यहां से। ठीक है, सिमिलरली अब जैसे अभी सर ने फार्मा कंपनी का एग्जांपल बताया था, तो फार्मा कंपनी का मतलब ये हो गया कि आपका इंडेक्स 38 और इंडेक्स 20 तो लगना ही लगना है, कोई क्वेश्चन आ ही सकता है हर हालत में, क्योंकि फार्मास्यूटिकल कंपनी जो भी है उनके अंदर काफी हाई लेवल की R&D होती है, तो जहां R&D होनी है तो वहां पे तो इंटेंजिबल एसेट्स का तो होना ही है। तो इसलिए जो है आपको एक स्ट्रेटेजिक अप्रोच फॉलो करनी है इस सब्जेक्ट को, एक प्रॉपर प्लानिंग और प्रॉपर स्ट्रेटेजी के साथ जाओगे तो मैं आपको गारंटी देता हूं आप मोर देन 60 मार्क्स वेरी इजीली अचीव कर सकते हैं। ओके स्टूडेंट्स,
Thank you, sir.
वेलकम to all the students. Thank you for being part of today's session and asking such wonderful questions. Your active participation made the session even better. I encourage all of you to keep learning and practicing how to connect different subjects just like we did today. That's what the integrated business solution paper is all about. Wishing you all the best for your studies and exams. Once again, thank you everyone for making this session a success. Thank you so much. Yes.
Recording stopped.
Thank you.